Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Konoha. Opening sign to Reincarnation I. Chapter 81. Outside Konoha village. The huge nine tails were still lying on the ground honestly, not to mention how sweet they were sleeping. For a moment, it really gave Lu Ren the illusion of a pet. Lu Ren sat next to Nine Tails so leisurely, motionless, as if he was closing his eyes and resting. The golden cover, covering Juwei's body has long been put away by Lu Ren, and now Namikaze Minato has been poisoned, and it is impossible to die, but it will not recover for a while. And apart from Nikaze Minato's flying thunder god, no one else in Konoha could pose the slightest threat to Rairin. He naturally doesn't have to waste his chakra like this. Whoosh whoosh. After Lu Ren came out of Obito's Shinwei space, he sat on the scene for a while, and was keenly aware that there were some Konoha ninjas around again. Through the perception of chakra in the immortal mode, Lu Ren found that there are some very powerful Shangnin among them. But without exception, these people are only on guard from a distance, but they don't dare to go forward at all. Is this the Uchiha man? Is he the one who injured the third and fourth generations and Jiraiya-sama? Konoha's think tank, Nara Shikahisa, looked at Uchiha Rukin, who was sitting beside Kyuya leisurely, and couldn't believe it. It was impossible for Nara Shikahisa to defeat all of Konoha's absolute high-level officials by just one person. In today's ninja world, how could there be such a powerful ninja? But the fact was in front of him, but he couldn't help but Nara Shikahisa didn't believe it. Lu Ju, what should we do? The white-eyed family's Hyuga Ripa asked Nara Shikahisa in a deep voice. On the side of Hyuga Risari, is the leader of the current route, Mito Gate Yan. However, seeing Mitoman Yan's appearance, he was also staring at Nara Shikahisa, obviously waiting for Nara Shikahisa's opinion. Not long ago, the fourth generation of Megami Fung Minato was killed by Uchiha Obito, and the third generation of Aiz was seriously injured in a coma, and I don't know how long it will take to wake up. The other high-level officials of Konoha held an emergency meeting. Now Konoha is headless, but facing the greatest crisis in history. If one is not good, it is hard to say that Konoha is directly destroyed. This is by no means alarmist. Whether it is Obito or that other Uchiha, there is a power far beyond the level of the current ninja world. If Konoha is not handled properly and causes too many high-level deaths, how could other villages miss this great opportunity? At this critical moment, the senior officials of Konoha, after consultation, unanimously decided to hand over the command to Nara Shikahisa. The Nara family has always been known for their high IQ, and they are even more loyal to Konoha. They hand over the authority to Nara Shikahisa, and all Konoha executives are relieved. After Nara Shikahisa took over the command, he completed the defense in the village with the fastest speed, and finally brought people to the crime scene in person. Don't act rashly. According to the information, this Uchiha man has not only turned on the kaleidoscope, but is also proficient in many kinds of blood and forbidden ninjutsu, such as magnetic dun, lei dun, fei lei shen, etc. It is definitely not something we can deal with. The bloody examples of the third and fourth generations are right in front of us, and we can't repeat the same mistakes. So our goal now is very clear. It's not to grab the nine tails from this person, but to find out what this person's purpose is. Let's see if there is any possibility of mediation. The fourth generation has just died, and the third and some other high-level officials were seriously injured. We Konoha can't afford more casualties. Nara Shikahisa said to the crowd calmly, for now, let's just wait and see what happens. Although the other people felt that it was embarrassing for the other party to hold Konoha down by a single person, they had to admit that Nara Shikahisa's strategy was correct. The group didn't say anything more, but began to widen their eyes one by one, staring at Lu Ren. But seeing Lu Ren sitting there motionless from beginning to end, no one knew what he wanted to do. After these high-level officials of Konoha discussed for a while, they were also to no avail. To them, Lu Ren's actions were simply strange. Ding! The Kurama's location, check-in location is generated. Not long after Nara Shikahisa and the others stared at him, a system alert sounded in Lu Ren's mind. You're done. A look of joy flashed across Lu Ren's face, and he stood up directly. The ninjas of Konoha, the nine tails are returned to you. After Lu Ren said this to Nara Shikahisa and the others, a space vortex appeared directly in front of him. His entire being disappeared in plain sight. Nara Shikaku. Sunrise day difference. Nito Menyon. All the Konoha ninjas looked at each other in dismay, and some couldn't react. That Uchiha man just left so suddenly. Why did he go to great lengths to catch the nine tails? Sitting back to back next to Kyuubi. Isn't this the conspiracy of that Konoha ninja? Everyone, look at me, I look at you, and no one dares to rush forward for a while. But Kyuubi didn't get up right away. This is mainly because Lu Ren did it deliberately, and it will take some time for the illusion of the nine tails to be lifted. After all, he injured the third and fourth generations of Jiraiya and others one after another, and the remaining power of Konoha alone may not be able to seal the nine tails. If Jujuwei ran away because of this, it would be lively. Lu Ren didn't want to let Konoha lose his nine tails just because he wanted to check in with Chakra, didn't he? Uchiha clan. Ro Blade's room. A vortex of space appeared, and the figure of Lu Ren appeared in his room. It's unreasonable, it's too much, what does Konoha think of us? That's it, just don't let us take action at this critical moment, and restrict our actions. Konoha clearly doesn't believe us. Just after appearing, Lu Ren heard an angry complaint coming from the outside. After he pushed open the door and walked out, he saw a lot of Uchiha clansmen gathered in the corridor and square outside. Everyone was furious to the extreme. With such a big incident in the village, the Uchiha family, despite their dissatisfaction with Konoha, still intends to contribute to Konoha, but what about Konoha? It completely restricted the actions of the Uchiha clan. This made the Uchiha clan, who had always had a conflict with Konoha, annoyed. If it wasn't for Uchiha Fuyu's order to let everyone follow Konoha's arrangement and stay in the clan, there might be a lot of trouble in the Uchiha clan. It is said that Uchiha Obito kidnapped Mrs. Hokage Kushina, and now the village is more and more distrustful of our Uchiha family. Uchiha is also a member of Konoha, why can't the two get along well? How on earth can we change this situation? Uchiha Shisui in the crowd showed deep worry on his face. Be quiet, be quiet. The patriarch is here. With these two shouts, the figure of Uchiha Fuyu slowly appeared in the sight of everyone, and the originally noisy scene became quiet. Uchiha Fuyu's eyes swept over his own people one by one, and then he slowly opened his mouth to explain the whole story to everyone. Everyone, I just got the news that Uchiha Obito killed Kushina's third-generation wife and kidnapped Kushina when he was giving birth to Lord Hokage's wife Uzumaki Kushina. During this period, another Uchiha master with an ominous identity appeared. He and one of Obito released the nine tails. Then the ominous Uchiha master shot and injured many masters such as the third generation, fourth generation, Jiraiya, Oil Girl Jiwei. As soon as these words came out, the entire Uchiha clan became boiling, and all Uchiha people were shocked. There are so many masters who have wounded the third and fourth generations of Jiraiya in succession. This is too exaggerated, isn't it? There is also Uchiha Obito, who kidnapped Uzumaki Kushina in the heavily guarded production base with enchantments. The Uchiha clan really sucks. It is because of the actions of these two Uchiha people that we are in this situation. However, it's not the worst. The worst thing is that Obito then showed up in the hospital and killed Hokage-sama and Oil Girl Jiwei. Uchiha Fuyu said to the clan with a solemn expression. After the scene was quiet for a few seconds, a storm broke out, and everyone was shocked by the news. Uchiha Obito killed Hokage. How dare this person do such a shocking thing? However, since Hokage has been killed, it means that the Uchiha clan has the power to shake Konoha. Coupled with the death of Minato Namikaze, Konoha's threat to Uchiha is even smaller. In this vibration, Uchiha Fuyu also saw a strange light from the eyes of many Uchiha clansmen. Quiet. Uchiha Fuyu waited until the scene was noisy for a while before continuing to speak in a deep voice. I know you are a little dissatisfied with the village's handling this time, but from the village's standpoint, they did nothing wrong. If it were me, I would have made the same decision. Next, Konoha will definitely investigate our Uchiha family. I hope you can correct your attitude and cooperate with Konoha's investigation. Although Uchiha Obito didn't die, but he hasn't reported back to the village for so long, he's already betrayed the village and my Uchiha clan. There is also that ominous Uchiha man. I have never had this person's identity information in my family. I don't care where his Sharingan came from, but my Uchiha family will not recognize him. For my Uchiha clan, the two of them are not the same clan, but enemies that need to be alerted. Okay, that's it, don't gather here, let's all go away, and if the village investigates, just cooperate well. Uchiha Fuyu said to everyone with a stern face, and immediately dispersed everyone. I'm going, Obito actually killed Minato Namikaze. Lu Ren in the crowd was still very surprised after hearing the news. Originally, after he controlled the oil girl Joy and used the nano-poisonous insect to poison Minato Namikaze can be said to have quit the game of the Nine Tails Rebellion. But in the end, it was impossible to escape death. In this regard, Lu Ren is inevitably embarrassed. To be honest, Minato's death is a pity, but I don't know how Obito would react when he went to Nanga Shrine to see the stone tablet and learned that the Moon Eye plan was a scam. I won't accidentally screw Obito again, will I? After sighing for 0.123 seconds, Lu Ren suddenly couldn't help being stunned. He had already understood why Obito wanted to kill Minato, most likely because he occupied the 9 tails that Obito had originally used to destroy Konoha. So bring the soil to do it yourself. If he didn't tell Obito about the Moon's Eye plan, it would be nothing, but if Obito knew that the Moon's Eye plan was fake after killing Minato Namikaze, can Obito's heart withstand such a blow? Lu Ren couldn't help shivering. The sky is above, my original intention is really to bring the soil. This point, Lu Ren can swear to the sky. When the Uchiha clan gathered in the courtyard and were furious, Obito had used his divine power to quietly appear at Nanga Shrine. Standing in front of the stele, staring at his samsara eyes, staring at the stele carefully. Beside Obito, Black and White appeared to be calm, but in fact, he was so nervous in his heart that he was afraid that Obito would really see something. But since Obito had already made up his mind to come to Nanga Shrine to check the stone monument, it was definitely not easy for Black and White to stop it clearly, otherwise it would only increase Obito's suspicion. Backfires. Then, Black and White absolutely appeared here with Obito. Obito, isn't this just an ordinary stone tablet? Where is it written on the infinite moon reading? Not only that, Black and White deliberately pretended to be stupid. This is not an ordinary stone tablet. The content seen by the ordinary eye, the kaleidoscope, and the eternal kaleidoscope is different. Some content can only be seen if the eyes have completed evolution. Obito absently answered Black and White while looking at the stone tablet carefully. Oh, so that's the case, that Obito. Shish, silence. Obito suddenly interrupted Heiju's words, as if he had discovered something. Black and White's heart was lifted directly. This stone tablet is really wrong. I can clearly feel it with my reincarnation eye. It has indeed been manipulated and there are traces of modification. At this moment, Obito's whole person is not well, and his face is extremely ugly, as if he has suffered a major blow. Is what that guy said true? Unlimited monthly reading, is there really a problem? So what is your persistence all along? Black and White drew on one side, his face was also very ugly, but at this moment Obito's own emotions were very wrong, but he didn't notice him at all. The 9 Tails Rebellion is over, but the impact on Konoha is far from over. Especially after the news of Minato Namikaze's death came out, the whole Konoha caused a great shock. Fortunately, the 9 tails finally resealed back into the stomach of the original human column force vortex Kushina, and there was no danger, which was the only consolation. The culprit of the 9 Tails Rebellion, Uchiha Obito and another ominous Uchiha man, became the bone-cutting enemies of the entire village of Konoha. Both ninjas and civilians hated these two to the extreme. The Uchiha family's situation in the village was extremely embarrassing, especially in the 2 days when the news just came out, almost everyone was shouting and fighting. At this time when Konoha was in the midst of the wind and rain, the 3 generations of Sarutobi Hizen dragged his unhealed body and regained control of Konoha, which enabled Konoha to run in an orderly manner. However, the news of Minato's death inevitably spread to other villages. Some villages sighed about it, and some villages regarded it as gossip. But in some villages, they were just around the corner, and moved some other thoughts. Overall, the environment is a bit depressing and tense. However, all of this did not affect the Flow Blade in the slightest. He was business as usual except that he felt a little sigh about Minato Namikaze's death. On the second day of the 9 Tails Rebellion, outside Konoha village, there is a barren forest not far from the Vortex Kushina production base. The figure of Lu Ren was teleported through the Shinwei space system, sign in at the location of the Kurama. After his figure appeared, the first thing to do was to sign in, there was no doubt about that. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in and getting the reward 9-tailed chakra. With the sound of the system, a small Kurama suddenly appeared in Lu Ren's body. Shuhei, Kurama, two unexpected voices sounded, and then Lu Ren felt that two groups of almost substantive hostility appeared in his body. The two guys, Shuhei and Kurama, are really jealous when they meet each other. Lu Ren also knew that it was useless to persuade and talk at this time. In order not to disturb the already nervous Konoha next door, Lu Ren directly controlled the two with an illusion. Then, using Shinwei, he moved to a wasteland far away from Konoha, and entered the fairy mode to sense it, confirming that there was no Baiju around. Only then did the 9 Lama be released. After the illusion was lifted, he beat Kurama so violently that he fell to the ground and didn't even have the strength to get up, so he threw Kurama into his body. After rebuilding another cage for the Kurama, and keeping the water from the crane well, the Kurama became honest. Who the hell is this guy? In the ninja world, has such a terrifying Uchiha appeared again? But, even though he was beaten up by this guy, his attitude towards our tailed beasts is different from that of others. Kurama thought weakly while lying in the sealed space. Kurama didn't worry too much about this batch of Ryurin. He who had seen Hokage knew that the tailed beast was not as brutal and tyrannical as the ninja imagined. That is absolutely a misunderstanding. As long as the tailed beast is respected, the tailed beast can completely coexist peacefully with the ninja. And Lu Ren's attitude towards tailed beasts is completely different from other people's, which can be felt in every aspect and every bit of tailed beasts in daily life in the future. There will be no problem in getting along. Of course, there is a premise for this, that is, Lu Ren has the strength to absolutely suppress these tailed beasts, so that the tailed beasts will listen to you and communicate with you. This does not apply to others. After the 9-tailed matter was resolved, Ryurin returned directly to the Uchiha clan and stayed in his room. Because of the 9 Tails rebellion, the entire Uchiha clan must be investigated by Konoha, including the chief of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fuyuke, and all the elders and other high-level officials. Although they knew that Uchiha Obito killed Hokage to cause this situation, but facing Konoha's massive investigation, the Uchiha family was still full of anger. For several days, the Uchiha people were called into the Anbu base one by one to be questioned by the investigation team. And Lu Ren was taken as a key care object by the investigation team because he had previously performed the task of recovering Obito corpses on the battlefield in the past. The ninja of the intelligence team was in charge of inquiries, and the 3 generations of Sarutobi Hizen and the root boss Yan Mito all came out to listen. Not only Ryuin, but Uchiha Shisui, as well as other Uchiha people who were looking for Obito's body together, are all such VIP services. But there is no doubt about the result. Got nothing. After all, Obito's resurrection from the dead has nothing to do with the Uchiha clan, it's all caused by Madara Uchiha. And another mysterious Uchiha man has never revealed his true face in Konoha, let alone left any clues in the Uchiha clan. Konoha's investigation with great fanfare has achieved little, or even nothing. This made the senior management of Konoha seem a little anxious. Like Sarutobi Hizen and these high-level Konoha people, those who have anxiety disorder are the first dutiful son in the ninja world. Since Obito went to Nanga Shrine to see the stone tablet and found that the stone tablet was really manipulated, the whole person has become bad. The belief in the infinite monthly reading plan has been greatly shaken. Although Obito did not restore the steel, and completely saw how the contents of the steel were modified, even this was enough to make Obito feel confused. Obito basically did nothing in the past few days, and began to frantically study the materials left by Uchiha Madara, trying to gain more knowledge about yin and yang. The purpose is obvious, it is nothing more than wanting to restore the content on the stone tablet and see how the stone tablet has been tampered with. However, the information left by Madara Uchiha has actually been seen for a long time, and there is not much knowledge about yin and yang. Bringing soil got nothing. Even Obito moved to go to the Senju clan in Konoha to search for the remnants of Senju to investigate, to see if he could find any clues that Chisho Tobarama was manipulating behind the scenes. But gave up because it was too unrealistic. The Chinsho clan was indeed the #1 clan in Konoha, but it has long since become history. Apart from a Tsunade, who knows if there are any survivors? What's more, things have passed for so long, and there may be almost nothing to find out. The reincarnation of the dirty earth. By the way, the reincarnation of the dirty earth. After being irritable for a few days, Obito suddenly had a flash of light in his head and thought of a good solution. I remember that Konoha has a forbidden technique called reincarnation of the dirty earth, which can summon the soul of the dead back from the pure land. As long as I learn it, I can summon Senju Tobarama in person and ask him clearly in person. Uchiha Obito made this decision. Obito, wouldn't this be too risky? You just killed Hokage, and at this time, go back to Konoha. Black and White dissuaded him on the side. One Yitu really learned the reincarnation of the dirty earth, and summoned Senju Tobarama, he must find that Chinsho Tobarama is a scapegoat. Then Obito will probably be more obsessed with the investigation of the truth. Black and White can't really guarantee what will be found at that time. Now that Chinsho Tobarama is here to blame, Black and White can definitely feel a little more at ease, at least he can be sure that this is the wrong direction. Even if my teacher is still there, I'm not afraid, let alone now, can the Konoha ninja do anything to me? Obito said in disapproval. Black and White did not say anything more. It seems that Obito has made up his mind and will definitely go to Konoha again. No, I have to do something. Black and White must be secretly thought in my heart. Because Obito is a Konoha ninja, and he is so familiar with Konoha that he doesn't need any preparation at all, and he just goes if he wants to. A vortex of space appeared in the base, and Obito's body just disappeared. Only Black and White was left, staying in the base, waiting for Obito to change his mind. The next moment, a vortex of space appeared again in Konoha village, which was shrouded in a tense atmosphere. Immediately after, a figure appeared on the street. The surrounding villagers were stunned for a moment, and then they saw Obito's eye-catching pair, Sharingan and Samsara. Then, those eyes, and that face, he is Uchiha Obito. After the surrounding villagers stayed for a while, there was a burst of exclamations. Then Zhang Huang started to run away in a panic. After all, everyone knows that Uchiha Obito is the murderer who killed the 4th generation. Obito walked indifferently in the village by himself, as if he didn't see all of this, and almost ignored the entire Konoha. Go and tell Hokage-sama, Uchiha Obito is here again. Anbu's ninja was quickly alerted, and reported the news as soon as possible, and Sarutobi Hizen was about to explode. He's here again. Uchiha Obito, you're deceiving people too much. Sarutobi Hizen was really angry. How many days has this guy killed Minato Namikaze? At this time, he dared to come to Konoha. Sarutobi Hizen couldn't care about the investigation of the Uchiha clan, and immediately began to gather people, planning to deal with Obito. However, when Hiruzen Sarutobi led the people there, Obito had already disappeared in front of everyone's eyes, and quietly appeared in the Konoha confidential archives. Now that the entire village's attention has been drawn, will the ninja in the confidential archive room that he killed be discovered for a while? Obito can look for the forbidden technique in the confidential archives without any hassle. Found it. After a lot of searching, Obito successfully found the target and incorporated the forbidden scroll into his divine power space. Obito, what are you doing here? But at this time, a cold voice suddenly sounded, which startled Uchiha Obito. He turned around suddenly, and found that it was a very unfamiliar ninja, leaning lazily on a filing cabinet and looking at himself. Obito instantly knew who this person was, with an extremely sarcastic expression on his face. Are you so afraid to show your true colors? This person cannot be anyone other than that Uchiha person. Lu Ren shrugged. You are not qualified to know who I am. Obito sneered. The tone is not small. You haven't answered me yet, what are you looking for here? Lu Ren ignored Obito's tone and asked curiously. Since he mentioned Obito, he is still curious about what Obito will develop next. It has nothing to do with you, Obito said to Lu Ren indifferently. But after a pause, Obito asked Lu Ren, do you still have any solid evidence for what you told me last time? Lu Ren's eyes lit up involuntarily. It seemed that Obito had indeed been to Nanga Shrine, and he really found the doubts on the stone tablet. No, Lu Ren shook his head, it's too old to find any clues, but if you find something, you might as well share it with me. Since you are so capable, you might as well go check it yourself. After Obito arrogantly said this, he directly used his divine power to leave the confidential archives. Lu Ren shrugged and left as well. It was not until a while after Obito left that Konoha discovered what happened in the confidential archives. After doing some inventory, he found that the forbidden technique, the reincarnation of dirty soil, was lost. Konoha's high-level officials all looked at each other in dismay, wondering why Obito suddenly stole this forbidden technique at this juncture. After some deliberation, it was fruitless and had to give up. The investigation of the Uchiha clan continued, but no useful clues were found until the entire Uchiha clan was investigated. After some deliberation at the top of Konoha, a decision was made: order the Uchiha clan to relocate the clan. And it was moved to the very edge of the village, just like being assigned to a cold palace. Konoha's defense and distrust of the Uchiha family has reached a peak. The heroes of the Uchiha clan were furious, and they turned against the sky. Patriarch, what does Konoha think of us Uchiha? We can't bear it anymore. Yes, how can the pride of our Uchiha clan be trampled on like this? Konoha made it clear that it is to drive us out of the core of Konoha. We have to let Konoha realize how powerful we are. They don't dare to underestimate us. Many Uchiha clansmen are clamoring for Uchiha Fuyu, expressing their dissatisfaction and wanting to seek justice from Konoha. Everyone, please listen to me. At a very critical moment, Uchiha Shisui stood up. Zishui became famous on the battlefield, known as the instant stop water, and still has a high prestige in the clan. As soon as he stood up, many of the clansmen calmed down for face, intending to listen to Zishui's opinion. I believe that the village will not maliciously suppress us. The village and our family have a deep misunderstanding. If you believe me, please give me this mission. I will do my best to let the village eliminate prejudice against us. Shishui said loudly to all the clansmen. Despite having great opinions on the order to relocate the clan's land, the Uchiha clan ultimately complied with this order. The entire clan moved to new clan land on the edge of the village. The relationship between Konoha and the Uchiha clan was at a time of high tension. Even the ordinary villagers in Konoha felt this. When they saw Konoha guards patrolling, they usually avoided it intentionally or unintentionally. Because they know that the Uchiha family has been very angry these 2 days. Then, after the guards walked away, they cursed angrily behind their backs. It was this family who killed the beloved Hokage-sama. Some other ninjas also avoided the Uchiha clan consciously or unintentionally. However, what makes Lu Ren more gratified is that the friend of Mitekai has not been made in vain, and the confidant of Yuhihi has not disappointed him. The two knew that the Uchiha family was severely suppressed by the village. Not only did they not draw a clear line with Lu Ren at this time, but they also took the initiative to run over to find Lu Ren. Rairan, I've been greedy these days, let's go eat barbecue together. Yuhika said to Liurin very intimately. Yeah, I've been training a lot these days, and I need to replenish my energy. Mitekai also pretended to be relaxed and said to the flowing blade. Lu Ren knew that things like getting hungry and replenishing energy were all excuses. These two people were afraid that they were in a bad mood, so they came to accompany them on purpose. How could he not understand? Haha, go for a walk. Anyway, someone treats you, so if you don't eat it for nothing. Lu Ren said to the two of them with a smile. The three of them chatted and laughed, and came to the barbecue restaurant as if nothing had happened. However, as soon as they entered the store, several people felt that the atmosphere suddenly became wrong. Those other diners who were still talking and laughing subconsciously stopped talking after seeing Lu Ren. One by one looked at Lu Ren with a dazzling gaze. No way, a series of things made the Uchiha family's situation in the village very embarrassing. It seems that there are no seats in there, otherwise let's go eat 3 color balls. Yuhi Hong hurriedly changed his words. Eating grilled meat is a bit ill-considered. Considering the current situation of Uchiha, the appearance of Rairan will definitely be watched by everyone. 3 color balls are a street stall, you don't need to go into the store to eat, it is more suitable. Why don't you have a seat, isn't there? Lu Ren pointed to a place near the corner, and smiled and took Yuhihika's hand. Don't worry about me, you all think too much, I'm fine. Let's go. Saying that, he pulled Hong and walked in. Hong and Matekai glanced at each other, but they could only follow Lu Ren in with a hint of worry. But after a meal, the two found that they really seemed to think too much, and this guy Lu Ren was still giggling as usual. There was no negative emotion such as depression, anxiety, anger, etc. between the eyebrows, and the two were relieved. After the meal, Lu Ren mercilessly chased away the superfluous thing called Matekai, and took a walk in the village with Hong. The mood is still very good. After returning to his room, Lu Ren went to the Shinwei space to check the situation of the Red Sand Scorpion. After the end of the Nine Tails Rebellion, Lu Ren installed the control center of the Red Sand Scorpion. It stands to reason that the Red Sand Scorpion should come back to life again. But several days have passed, and the scorpion of the Red Sand has not moved. If it weren't for the energy fluctuations in the control center, Lu Ren would feel that the Red Sand Scorpion was dead. It seems that the fight between the control soul puppet and the flowing blade has caused a lot of backlash to the Red Sand Scorpion. Lu Ren didn't know when the Red Sand Scorpion would recover, so he came in every now and then to see. But this time, to Lu Ren's surprise, the Red Sand Scorpion actually woke up. What is the technique you used to deal with my soul puppet? The Red Sand Scorpion asked without any nonsense as soon as it met. This is his biggest concern. If you want to know, give me your soul puppet technique first. Lu Ren said to the Red Sand Scorpion expressionlessly. The Scorpion of the Red Sand is a little reluctant, but it is his biggest killer, how can it be handed over so easily? This is a different dimension space that I have. You are the only one in the whole space. It just so happens that you don't need to eat or drink water, you can stay in one place endlessly. I'll give you enough time for you to think about it. After Lu Ren said these words, he ignored the Chisha Scorpion and withdrew directly from the Shinwei space. A puppet body like the Red Sand Scorpion cannot be controlled by illusion techniques, nor can it be severely tortured. Of course, Lu Ren will not do things like torture without a rank. Anyway, he was just curious about the soul puppet technique, not eager to, so he didn't mind playing with the Red Sand Scorpion slowly. In the afternoon, patrols continued. On the way, Lu Ren suddenly felt a trace of chakra fluctuations from the black stick he gave to Orochimaru. Orochimaru is calling him. Lu Ren naturally did not hesitate. After leaving a shadow clone, he directly used the divine power to appear at the location of the black stick. The space vortex appeared, and the figure of the flowing blade appeared. He turned his head and looked around, and found that it was a dark and damp room, and there was a faint smell of sea in the air. Lu Ren immediately understood where he had appeared. It must be the secret test base of Orochimaru on the island. Lord Flowing Blade. A slightly hoarse voice sounded. There was no doubt that it was Orochimaru, and beside Orochimaru, he was also followed by the timid Junmalu. After just over 2 months of absence, Junmalu has undergone earth-shaking changes at this moment. Simply a new look. But think about it, how can the life in prison be compared with the present? Lord Lu Ren. Junmalu also greeted Lu Ren. Lu Ren looked at Junmalu's fleshy little face, and couldn't help but stretch out his hand to touch it, pinching it, it felt really good. Junmalu did not dodge or dodge, raised his head and looked at Lu Ren, his eyes filled with incomparable confusion. Lord Lu Ren, what are you doing? Is it testing my root bone? What kind of culture is it going to do on me? Poor Junmalu, living in Korijin is simply not a human life, and he can't even understand some of the intimate behaviors between such people. It seems that Lord Liuren likes Junmalu very much. Do you want to bring Junmalu with you? Orochimaru suggested on the side. It's not time yet, after all, I'm still a Konoha ninja. Lu Ren shook his head. With the strength of Lord Lu Ren, it is easy to become Hokage. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and licked it, and said casually, as long as you become Hokage, Lord Lu Ren can do whatever you want. Lu Ren was noncommittal about this. He was not too ambitious in the first place. He hadn't thought about being a Hokage or something. The temporary goal, that is, to keep signing in and constantly make oneself stronger, to achieve invincibility in the universe. At least Kagaya's resurrection won't threaten him. the Otsutsuki clan on the moon won't threaten him, and when Momoshi and other Otsutsukimoto clan descends into the ninja world, they won't threaten him either. Kagaya and Otsutsuki are the ones sent by the Otsutsuki clan to the earth to plant and guard the sacred tree. Sooner or later, their clan will come. And when the Otsutsuki clan saw that chakra, which should belong to the divine tree, was scattered throughout the ninja world, it would definitely be recovered. In fact, the future Taoist, Jinshi and other Otsutsuki people did indeed do this. Flow Blade naturally had to guard against. Of course, this is only for now, no one knows what will happen in the future, and it is hard to say if Rairin really becomes Hokage. Okay, Orochimaru, what's the matter with me? Is there something wrong with what I gave you? Lu Ren asked. Orochimaru shook his head. Those two Zuli disappeared in the ninja world for many years. They are not so easy to find. I don't have enough staff now, but... Speaking of this, Orochimaru changed the conversation. I have made another new discovery. Takian village, Nanao is in this village. Taki Hidden Village. Lu Ren thought about it carefully, and recalled that this village had come. This is a village that appeared in the Naruto theatrical version. It is also called Hidden Village. It is sandwiched by 4 countries, but it is surrounded by waterfalls on all sides, and its geographical location is very secret. This kind of secrecy is a real secrecy, not as simple as being surrounded by water like Korean, but hidden in waterfalls one after another. Even the entrance to the village is within the waterfall, like a water curtain cave in Wagwoshan. If there is no acquaintance to lead the way, it is almost impossible for outsiders to find it. Where did you find this village? Lu Ren's eyes lit up slightly. Aside from the 2 people who left their village, Takian village was indeed the best choice. This village was originally a small village, and its geographical location was also very secretive. This can be regarded as an unintentional gain. I was looking for a person who was suspected to be Yugao, but I found out that it was a wrong clue, but I accidentally discovered the entrance of Takian village. I thought, anyway, what Lu Ren-sama needs is a tailed beast. Since the other 2 people, Zuli, have not been found, why don't you go to Takian village first? Orochimaru said wisely. You already know that my goal is all tailed beasts. Lu Ren shrugged and asked Orochimaru. I've heard everything about Konoha. Isn't that other person other than Uchiha Obito, you, Master Rairin? Although I don't know what the purpose of Lord Lu Ren is, but you shot at the 9 tails at that time, and coupled with the task you gave me, it is not difficult to guess the goal of Lord Lu Ren. Orochimaru analyzed it lightly. Yes, as expected of Sanin, a little bit of wind will allow you to analyze the truth. Lu Ren nodded approvingly. There is no doubt about the ability of Orochimaru, and this subordinate can be said to be very worthwhile. In that case, let's go. Lu Ren immediately put his hand on Orochimaru's shoulder and inhaled Orochimaru into the divine space. Junmalu, are you staying here or going with you? Lu Ren turned his inquiring eyes to Junmalu again. I want to go with you. Junmalu thought for a while and said with a serious face. If that's the case, then let's go. Lu Ren immediately sucked Junmalu into the divine power space. Almost at the next moment, Lu Ren used the technique of divine power to bring Orochimaru and Junmalu to the foot of a mountain. Looking around, I can see that there are towering peaks all around, and many waterfalls on the mountainside are rushing down, and the environment is very good. It can be called a beautiful landscape and outstanding people. Lord Liurin, come with me, in that waterfall is Takian village. Orochimaru pointed to a waterfall in the distance, and then led the way for Rairin in front. Whoosh whoosh, several people launched the instant body technique, flew to and fro on top of each big stone, and soon came to the outside of one of the waterfalls. After passing through the waterfall, I found that it is really unique. There are ponds one after another on the ground. Swim in here, and you can go straight to Takian village. After Orochimaru finished saying these words to Lu Ren, he jumped into one of the ponds with a puff. Flow Blade, don't mention how speechless he is. Is it necessary to keep the location of Takian village so secret? Like a maze. If there is no one to lead the way, even if someone accidentally breaks into this waterfall, it is impossible to find this hidden entrance, right? Lu Ren and Junmalu also jumped into the pond one after another, and they found that the water below was connected to a larger water area. After swimming to the larger body of water, he swam for a while before reaching the shore. Heading out, Sure enough, a village with a very beautiful scenery appeared in front of everyone. This kind of place is so secretive that even Baiju can't find it, right? Lu Ren couldn't help but think so in his heart. He immediately entered the fairy mode, felt it, and found that there was indeed no hidden Baiju everywhere. Obviously, Baiju still doesn't know about this place. Let's go look for Ren Zuli. Lu Ren greeted Orochimaru, and began to land on the shore, walking in the direction of the village's main road. However, after walking for a while, a few people felt that something was not right. Although Takian village is a small village, it is unlikely that you will not find a single person after you come in, right? Don't everyone hide in the house during the day and not come out. After entering the village, I found that some people were running towards the house in a panic, and there were exclamations in their mouths. The corners are here. The corners are here again. Everyone, go home and hide. Master Jiaodu. Lu Ren pondered slightly, and soon remembered that Jiaodu was the rebel of Takian village, who seemed to have a grudge against the village. Kakuto's secret art of resentment is to kill the ninja of Takian village and then take it from the village. Now it seems that Jiaodu returned to Takian village this time. I am afraid that he did not revisit the old place to miss the village, but mostly to retaliate against the village. Let's go and see. Kakuto is very strong, and Takian village can't be its opponent, and most of them will use the power of people. Lu Ren said to Orochimaru and the others. After making the decision, Lu Ren entered the immortal mode, covering the entire Taki hidden village at once. The chakra situation of the ninjas in the entire village was sensed by Lu Ren. Because of its unique chakra attributes, Jiaodu was found by Lu Ren almost instantly. 5 attribute chakras, still so powerful, there is no doubt that this is Jiaodu. Let's go over. Chakras with 5 attributes are extremely rare in the entire ninja world. Except for Konoha's Sarutobi hidden, no one has ever heard of them. I met him in Takian village, I can guess it with my thighs, it must be a horn. Whoosh whoosh. Immediately Lu Ren led the 2 of Orochimaru and Junmalu, and began to rush towards Jiaodu. Going straight ahead along the foot of a mountain, and then passing through a small forest, in an open space at the end, I saw a few figures flashing in the distance. One of them has a large number of black lines floating around outside. Isn't it the old man of Jiaodu? Boom boom boom. Jingle jingle. The 2 sides are fighting fiercely. However, the strength of Kakuto is a bit stronger than those of the ninjas in Takian village, and the only few Jonin who fought against him were beaten to pieces. Jiaodu, it's been so long since it happened, don't you want to destroy the village? After a fierce face-to-face, Takian village's most powerful Jonin at present, Shibuki, the village chief of Takian village, shouted at the corners with full of anger and solemnity. By Shibuki's side were the other 4 Shinjin, and now they are the last elites of Takian village. I risked my life for the village, but the result was the village's betrayal. From the moment I escaped from the village, I had already decided to destroy the village sooner or later. Jiaodu said coldly, his eyes were extremely cold, like a robot, without the slightest expression. During the Warring States period, Kakuto accepted the mission of the village to assassinate the first Hokage, and the result was no doubt that Kakuto was defeated. The defeat was so complete that he almost lost his life. The first generation was at the level of a god, so how could a small village's Jonin be able to kill it? Considering the strength of the first generation, Jiaodu is considered a hero of the village even if the mission fails, but when he returns to the village, he gets a heavy punishment from the village. Jiaodu escaped from the prison in a rage, and also stole the village's secret art of resentment. By constantly changing the heart, he has survived until now. Jiaodu, all the people from that year are dead, and the matter has passed. Village chief Sheki stared at Jiaodu and shouted. I'm not dead yet, Jiaodu said coldly. Village chief, there is no other way to do this now, we can only use the water of heroes. One of them, Jonin, called out to the village chief Sheki with difficulty. The water of heroes is a very strange water in Takian village. After drinking it, one's chakra can increase dozens of times. But it has a fatal weakness. Once drinking this kind of water, it will cause incalculable harm to the body. Therefore, the village chief of Shiki generally strictly forbids the use of ninjas in the village, and only uses it as a trump card to deter other countries. But now, the situation is so critical that there is no choice. Everyone, Listen, now, I allow you to drink the water of heroes. Shibumu gritted his teeth and said to the other 4 Junin. Several people took out a small bottle from their backpacks at the same time, and then opened their mouths and drank it into their mouths. Jiaodu just stood there and watched with cold eyes and did not stop him. He just wanted to let these ninjas use up all their moves before mercilessly killing them. This allows the ability to make the other party feel hopeless to the greatest extent possible. Boom, boom, boom. After the village chief Shiki finished drinking the water of heroes, each of them seemed to have opened the 8 doors, and the whole person burst out with a very terrifying chakra fluctuation. Heroic water. I'll show you right away that what you are proud of is useless at all. There was a viciousness in Jiaodu's voice. But at the same time, Jiaodu didn't dare to be careless, and he used the secret art of resentment, and the 2 mask monsters were directly released by him. One is the fire escape mask monster, and the other is the thunder escape mask monster. Let's do it together. Group water escape water dragon bomb. At this moment, Shimu shouted in a deep voice, and his hands began to form seals quickly. Whoa! 5 incomparably huge water dragons condensed in an instant, and began to charge towards the corners together. Now the chakras of Shimu and the others have been enhanced by dozens of times. In addition, they are still in an environment near the water. The power of the 5 water dragons is still very powerful. In terms of attack power alone, it is impossible for ordinary shadows to hard connect. Even if it is a flowing blade, it must enter the fairy mode to be able to stop it. Of course, what we are talking about here is hard contact. In the real battle process, there are thousands of methods that can be used, and hard contact is always the most unwise one. Seeing the powerful attack power after drinking the hero's water, Shibuki's faces finally flashed a hint of relief. No matter how powerful that corner is, it is impossible to stop this move. However, seeing the corner is still standing in the same place with incomparable stability, not dodging or avoiding, there is no slight change in the expression on his face, he is still as stable as an old dog. Snapped. The corners clapped both hands. The 2 mask monsters counterattacked immediately. Huo Dun head hard. Call. The fire escape mask monster suddenly spit out an earth-shattering sea of fire towards Shiki and the 3 of them. Yes, that fire escape ninjutsu is so amazing, the flames spit out are overwhelming, even more amazing than Uchiha Madara's fire escape ninjutsu. It was like a flood, and they rushed towards Shimu and the others. The fire escape of Jiaodu is so awesome. The 5 water dragons that had erupted were completely blocked by Jiaodu's fire escape. The blocking was so easy and pleasant, as if it was effortless at all. Nani, how is this possible? Everyone in Shimu was stunned. How could Jiaodu be so powerful? I'm going to complain to Kishimoto, you're secretly opening up the corners. Lei Dun's pseudo-darkness. After the fire escape mask monster blocked the water dragon bullets of the Shimu people, the other mask monster didn't sit still, so just across the water dragon bullet, it struck a few blue lightning bolts at the Shimu people. It can be said that Lei Dun is naturally restrained from water Dun, and the few blue lightning bolts directly drilled through the bodies of several water dragons. It was right on the bodies of Shimu and several people. As if they were struck by lightning, the whole body was shaken, and they all fell backwards and fell to the ground, each of them spitting out a big mouthful of blood. One by one, they collapsed to the ground like a puddle of mud, unable to even get up. The backlash caused by the water of heroes against them, coupled with the powerful thunderbolt of Jiaodu, it is already a big fate for the village chief Shiki to not die. But even so, he has completely lost his combat effectiveness. As this, Jiaodu, it's simply an unmatched monster. Seeing that step by step towards their corner, the village chief Shiki and several people flashed incomparable despair in their eyes. Is there no other way? Jiaodu stood in front of several people, glanced at them condescendingly, and his words became more and more cold, if not, I will take your life. Village chief Sheki and the others didn't say much, they just stared at Jiaodu, full of resentment. Die. Jiaodu stretched out his hand to Mayor Shiki who was on the ground. His hand was like a flying fist, and flew out directly from his arm. He grabbed the head of Shibuki village by the neck. Just as Jiaodu wanted to break the neck of village chief Shibuki, a cold voice suddenly sounded. Isn't it right? You are all about to be killed, why don't you send someone to support them? The plot shouldn't be played like this. Lu Ren was really surprised. The village was about to be wiped out. What's the point of hiding nuclear weapons? In the impression, Takian village is a small village, it can even be said to be pitiful, and there are basically no masters. In the theatrical version, a betrayal shisha and a group of people directly controlled the entire village. The 3 ninjas in the 7th class who had just graduated from ninja school were able to save the village. And through the perception of the immortal mode just now, only a few shangnin in the entire village are concentrated here. If all the villages are killed, there will be no jonin. It's time for the village to perish, okay. When will it be time to use people and pillars? Who? Jiaodu was suddenly startled and turned his head sharply, only to see a young man walking towards him leisurely. Behind the teenager, 2 other people, one big and one small, trailed half a beat and followed unhurriedly. Konoha Sanin, Orochimaru. Soon, Jiaodu recognized the identity of Orochimaru, and was shocked again, and he became more and more uncertain about the identity of Lu Ren. Even people like Orochimaru follow this person. Who is this person? PFF'd. Just like throwing garbage, he threw the village chief Shibuki aside, and the corners began to turn around, looking at Rairin carefully. Sure enough, he found that this young man gave him a very difficult feeling. On the side of the village head of Sheki, look at me, I look at you, confused, and don't know where these people came from. You are the helpers they found. Jiaodu finally stared at Lu Ren with a solemn expression and asked in a deep voice. Do you think it's up to them to have this ability? Lu Ren shrugged and asked calmly. The corners were dumbfounded. Yes, with just a few ninjas in Takian village, how could it be possible to invite someone like Konoha Sanin? Then what is the purpose of your appearance? Jiaodu paused and continued to ask in a deep voice. Originally I came for Nanao, but I didn't expect to meet you, Kakuto, just because I still lack a few men, why don't you mix with me? Lu Ren said to Jiaodu with a stern face. Jiaodu sneered directly. He, boy, if you think that if you rely on Orochimaru, the old man will not dare to kill you, then you are wrong. Kakuto, who has lived from the Warring States period to the present, has reached the pinnacle of all kinds of taijutsu and ninjutsu over the years. Even the chakra in the body has accumulated to a terrible situation. Coupled with the secret of resentment, he has 5 chakra attributes, even in the face of Orochimaru, he dares to fight. Orochimaru, who hadn't spoken much for a long time, said at this time, Your Excellency Jiaodu, you made a mistake. It's not that Lord Liurin relies on me, but I rely on Lord Liurin. Jiaodu, are you not mistaken? Orochimaru would actually say such a thing. I'm afraid this Orochimaru is not a guy pretending to be, right? Lord Liurin, although it may be redundant to ask this question, but do you need me to take action to help you subdue Jiaodu? At this time, Orochimaru turned his head to Rairin as if nothing at all. No need, since I want to conquer Jiaodu, then let me do it myself. My favorite thing is actually to convince people with strength. Ryu smiled lightly. You really didn't take this old man seriously. You brat, you are so arrogant, the old man should see how capable you are. The corners snorted coldly at this time. Click. The ground beside Lu Ren was suddenly broken, and Jiaodu's hand grabbed towards Lu Ren's neck from a very tricky angle like lightning. Lu Ren stood still, like a prophet, and slammed his right hand outwards very casually. He firmly grasped Jiaodu's hand in his hand. Jiaodu's pupils shrank slightly, and the leopard could be seen in the tube. This kind of skill is enough to show that the opponent is really strong. Divine power. Click. Those black lines connecting Jiaodu's broken arm and his right hand were directly cut off by Lu Ren's long-range divine power. The corners are all pupils shrinking again. What kind of weird method is this? If you hit your neck with a haircut, wouldn't your head be about to move? Jiaodu's contempt for Lu Ren disappeared in an instant, and his face showed an extremely solemn look. Mr. Jiaodu, did you drop this right hand? Lu Ren smiled and threw the severed right hand towards Jiaodu. A large number of black lines appeared again on Jiaodu's right arm, which automatically connected to his right hand, and then slapped his palms sharply. The 2 mask monsters outside immediately attacked the flowing blade. Huo Dun head hard. Lei Dun pseudo darkness. The incomparably exaggerated fire Dun and the extremely fierce thunder Dun crossed and crushed the flowing blades at the same time. But Lu Ren didn't seem to see it at all, wandering leisurely in the boundless sea of fire and lightning, as if entering a realm of no one. He walked calmly towards the two masked monsters. What happened? What happened? Why does my attack seem to have no effect on him? Kakato, who launched a violent attack on Lu Ren, was completely stunned, completely unable to understand what happened. This scene was too weird for him. Could it be that he has fallen into an illusion? Should not be. Seeing Lu Ren's leisurely figure getting closer and closer to himself, Zhao Du felt a little anxious in his heart, and began to control the two masked monsters to attack Lu Ren more and more violently. However, nothing works. He could only helplessly watch Lu Ren getting closer and closer to him. Divine power. Click, click. When the two masked monsters entered the range of the remote Shenwei, Lu Ren glanced at the two masked monsters lightly. The two masked monsters shattered directly, and the terrifying attack naturally disappeared. The two masked monsters in Jiaodu threw themselves into the streets so easily. Nani, what's going on? Jiaodu almost glared his eyes out. Shock was written all over his face, and at the same time he felt a great pressure. This young man's method is really too weird. He didn't know what was going on at all, and the two masked monsters were killed. Just lost 2 lives in such a confused way. On one side, village chief Shiki and the others were also stunned. The 5 of them drank the water of heroes, but they were still trampled by the horns under their feet. As weak as an ant. But this person killed the 2 masked monsters in Jiaodu casually. How holy is this man? Realizing that the powerful Jiaodu dared to be careless at this moment, he gritted his teeth and released his other 2 masked monsters. The wind escape mask monster and the fire escape mask monster jumped out all of a sudden, and merged into one under the control of Jiaodu, merging into the same body. Snapped. Jiaodu slapped his palms sharply. Composite ninja technique, flame wind turbulence. Call. The fire escape mask monster spewed out an exaggerated large sea of flames of S rank, while the wind escape mask monster spewed out a terrifyingly violent hurricane from its mouth. The sea of fire and the hurricane are organically blended together, forming a powerful hurricane of fire. This level of art, as expected of a corner. There was a hint of approval in Lu Ren's eyes. He nodded and praised casually. It's like a big man standing at the top of the ninja pyramid, seeing 2 children at the foot of the pyramid playing well with slingshots, and commenting casually. This made the corners feel very uncomfortable. But it's useless. Immediately after the conversation changed, Lu Ren slapped the ground with both hands, and a piece of gold dust rose from the ground at once. An absolute defense was formed, which firmly blocked the terrifying sea of fire tornado from the corners. Magnetic dungeons. Isn't this Luo Sha's technique? How can this person do it? The look of surprise in Zhao Du's eyes became heavier, and at the same time, his expression became more and more solemn. This person used that strange technique to instantly destroy his 2 mask monsters, which has made him extremely jealous, and now he has the magnetic dungeon's gold. It's not even the corners that can handle it. Boom. When those surprised thoughts flashed through Zhao Du's mind, some giant sand hands suddenly burst out from the ground under his feet, and began to grab Zhao Du and the other 2 mask monsters fiercely. At this moment, Lu Renren is already in the immortal mode, and the power of magnetic dunge gold is much stronger than Luo Sha. Even if the defensive corners are attacking at the same time against 3 people, the power should not be underestimated. Zhao Du immediately began to use the instant body technique to dodge, and also controlled the other 2 mask monsters to dodge. But in the end, he couldn't escape Lu Ren's magic claws. It was just a moment's effort, and the 2 gold dust claws grabbed the mask monster. The layers of sand seemed to have souls under Lu Ren's control, and actively crawled onto the mask monster, wrapping the mask monster around the group. At this time, the mask monster's attack was naturally interrupted abruptly. Sand waterfall funeral. At this time, Lu Ren swiped at the mask monster. Boom. The sand that wrapped the mask monster into a ball exploded directly, and the mask monster inside was exploded so that not even slag was left. Undoubtedly, he couldn't die any longer. Zhao Du, now you only have 1 life left. Do you want to continue? If you die again, you will really die. Lu Ren immediately withdrew his hand, as if he had done a trivial matter, and glanced at Zhao Du in an understatement. Gudong. Zhao Du couldn't help swallowing a mouthful of saliva, sweat dripping from his entire forehead. The strength of this young man in front of him has completely exceeded his expectations, and it is simply outrageous. How long has it been since he fought this man? The 4 mask monsters were all killed by the other party. Moreover, the corners are not blind, and it can be seen that the other party has not expended any effort at all, just casually. This person's strength is simply too terrifying. When did such a monster appear in the ninja world? At this moment, Zhao finally understood why Orochimaru was willing to follow this person. What do you think of my horns? Although he was shocked in his heart, Zhaodu's face was still cold, and he didn't give in. I want me to recognize you as the master like Orochimaru, stop joking. Naturally, Lu Ren didn't really think that if he defeated Zhaodu, he would follow him obediently. At the level of Zhaodu, if you want to use death to intimidate them, then you really look down on people. However, Lu Ren didn't want to use illusion to control them unless it was a last resort. Just like playing a game, it really doesn't make sense to use a cheat device. Zhaodu, believe me, there is no one in this world who knows you better than me. Follow me and I will give you what you want most. With a calm face, Lu Ren said diagonally. Haha, Zhaodu couldn't help sneering out loud. Does this person want to brainwash himself with some grand-sounding truths? It's simply a joke of the world. In the past, he was brainwashed by Takian village and even dared to kill the god of ninjas. What happened? Ended up with a tragic betrayal. Since then, the corner has seen through the true face of this ninja world. Except for real money, everything is untrustworthy. I really want to know, what can you give me? Zhaodu looked at Lu Ren with incomparable sarcasm and asked. Money. There was no long talk in his imagination. What Lu Ren promised to Zhaodu was only this simple word. Zhaodu was stunned for a moment. This answer was beyond his expectations. It seems that you really know me well. The corners laughed. When it comes to money, the old man is no longer sleepy, and his eyes radiate light. Those on the ground should be used as a deposit first, how about that? Lu Ren pointed at the golden sand that he had condensed with the magnetic sand gold. Yes, of course there is no problem. As long as the money is in place, it is quite refreshing, and I agree without any discount. Then he carefully took out a scroll and began to seal the gold dust on the ground little by little. That's called a hard work. While sealing, he muttered, these golden sands are a bit rough, and you need to sift them well when you go back. Some are busy. Lu Ren didn't interrupt Zhaodu, just stood aside and looked at the old man's seal happily. After the seal was over, Zhaodu asked directly, what do you need me to do? It is completely a gesture of being driven by the king. You should follow Orochimaru first. Orochimaru will tell you the specific requirements. Lu Ren said diagonally, and gave him a black stick for reincarnation. If you want to contact me for anything, just inject a chakra into it. If you feel that the commission I gave is not enough and you need to add more money, just tell me directly. Lu Ren said from the opposite corner. This kind of generous attitude makes Zhaodu feel more and more satisfied with Lu Ren. Where can you find this kind of employer who casually asks you to pay? I think we will cooperate very happily in the future. Zhaodu put away the black stick of reincarnation with great satisfaction. The village chief Shiki and the others on the side felt more and more that something was wrong. At first, when the uninvited guest easily suppressed Zhaodu, they were secretly relieved, feeling that the threat of Zhaodu was finally lifted. But how in the blink of an eye, this person and the corner have become a group? Seeing Lu Ren looking at the village chief of Sheki and the others, Zhaodu asked very confidently, I just received your money, if you need it, I can do it for you. I'll do it myself. Lu Ren smiled, and then walked directly towards the village chief of Shiki. The village chief Shiki and the others suddenly felt extremely nervous, and their bodies all tensed up. This existence is a super god who can easily crush even his horns. The pressure on them is too great. What exactly do you want to do? Could it be that you are also here for the water of heroes? With your strength, you don't need such a thing at all, right? The village chief Shiki was very nervous, and his forehead was covered in sweat. Let's not talk about these issues. I'm just curious, why didn't you call out Ren Zuli when he was about to die? Could it be that after you were killed, are there any other ninjas in the village who could block Kakuto? Lu Ren's words caused the village chief Shiki to be stunned, as if they didn't understand why the other party would ask such an inexplicable question at this time. But then, village chief Shiki's expression changed. Are you here for the tailed beast? The other Shangnin on the side also changed their expressions wildly. With this person's perverted strength to the extreme, how can they protect the tailed beast comprehensively? Interesting, it turns out that the adults are trying to snatch the tailed beast. Zhao Du murmured. Then can you call Ren Zuli out? Lu Ren smiled at Shibumu, but in Shibumu's eyes, the smile was like a devil. If you die, I won't tell you even if I die. Village Chief Sheki snorted coldly, and shouted in a tone of death. It's up to you. Lu Ren shrugged, the eyes in his pupils turned, switched to the state of riding wheel eyes, and directly controlled Village Chief Shibuki with illusion. Now, let's go and call out the Nanao Ren Zuri. Rairan instructed the Village Chief Shibuki casually. At present, there is no one in our village, and Nanao is sealed in a special sealed container. Village Chief Shiki said to Lu Ren with a dull gaze. Village Chief, I can't say it, the village, bang bang bang. After knocking all the Junin out of the air, Lu Ren continued to say to the Village Chief Shiki with a hint of curiosity, aren't you guys really strong? In the impression, the Nanao's Hiroshima is a female ninja named Fu, but after calculating the time, the other party should be just a child at this time. He probably hasn't become the Nanao Ren Zuri. Lu Ren asked Nanao about the specific situation, and quickly got an answer. It turned out that Takian village was only a small village, and it was not easy to find a suitable person, so for a long time, Nanao was sealed in a sealed container. When it was necessary to fight, Takian village used to release Nanao and control it to fight. It's just that with the passage of time, the power of the seal in the sealing container is getting weaker and weaker, and the ninjas of Takian village are afraid that they will never be able to seal it back when they release Nanao. So I didn't dare to let it go easily. Because once it is released, it is hard to say whether the enemy is dead or not, and Takian village is definitely finished. No wonder, it's time for life and death, and they don't let Nanao out. Lu Ren suddenly realized that it wasn't because they didn't want to, but because they couldn't. However, this is not a problem for Lu Ren at all. He immediately ordered Shimu, let's lead the way and let Nanao out. Shiki is now completely a puppet of Lu Ren, and he immediately leads the way when he hears the words, and executes the order without any discount at all. It turns out that Master Lu Ren wants to destroy Takian village. It's just that with the means of Master Lu Ren, you don't need that kind of thing at all. Jiaodu also used the telekinesis technique to follow behind, making guesses with interest. If you want to destroy this kind of village, is it worth a visit by Master Lu Ren? Orochimaru laughed hoarsely. It does sound like crazy, but it is the truth that can't be more true. This kind of small village, Orochimaru can be destroyed without any effort, not to mention the flow blade. In the end, several people followed Village Chief Shibuki and appeared in front of the sealed container with Nanao. All of them could clearly feel the chakra of Nanao that came from there. Open the seal, Village Chief. Lu Ren said to Shibumu with a hint of anticipation. Shibuki is under the control of Rairan at the moment, and no matter what kind of orders are made, they will not be discounted in the slightest. Following Lu Ren's order, he opened the seal on the sealing container without blinking his eyes. A group of terrifying tailed beast chakra erupted directly, instantly shrouding everyone on the scene. No, no, Lord Shiki. Stop the village chief. Two anxious and panicked voices sounded, but it was those Takian Murakami shinobi who fought side by side with Shibuki finally came over. Seeing that Shimu was actually going to release Nanao, his expression changed. However, they were a step behind after all, and when they arrived, they happened to see the scene where Shibumu released Nanao. I finally see the sun again. Immediately afterwards, Nanao's angry, depressed, and full of endless murderous roar sounded. Being sealed in a sealed container is even more uncomfortable than being sealed in Ren Zuli's body. God knows how much anger Nanao has held back over the years. It's over. The village is now, it's over. The faces of the several Jonin showed incomparable despair and powerlessness, their legs softened, and they knelt directly on the ground with a thud. Nanwei. It was really released. Jiaodu was a little surprised and said to himself, with such a large handwriting, Master Lu Ren is really not an ordinary person. That's right, this time, Lu Ren suppressed Nanao's sign in location, and did not deliberately hide it from the people like Orochimaru and Jiaodu, because it was pointless to do so. On the day of the Nine Tails Rebellion, Rurin and Obito made such a big move in Konoha, it is impossible for Kuro to not know. In this case, there is no need for Ryan to keep secrets when suppressing the tailed beast. You people are all going to die. In the roar, Naneo glanced at the few people standing in front of him, and without saying a word, he opened his wings and flew towards them. How impolite. Lu Ren was not in a hurry and didn't forget to complain at such a critical moment. The others did not dodge or dodge, and instantly entered the immortal mode, and then slapped the ground with both hands and used the magnetic sand gold. An incomparably gigantic gold dust fist appeared and slammed into Nanwei's head with a bang, and suddenly knocked Nanwei upside down. Boom! Naneo's incomparably huge body smashed directly to the ground, causing the entire earth to shake violently. What a terrible power this is! The corner couldn't help but whispered admiration on the side. It's amazing. How is this possible? The two Takigakushi Jonin wondered if they were wrong. It was a tailed beast, the pinnacle of power in the entire ninja world. There is someone who can absolutely suppress the power. How could it be? How could it be like this? There was an extremely angry roar from Nanwei's mouth, flapping its wings and flying over again, and spit out a tail of beast jade at Lu Ren and the others. No, it's the tailed beast jade. Zhao Du's complexion changed, and at the first moment, he launched the instant body technique and flashed to the side. But I saw that both Orochimaru and the white-haired child were standing beside Lu Ren calmly, neither planning to dodge, nor to fight together. It seems to be very sure that the flowing blade can block the attack of the tailed beast jade. Are they so confident in Master Lu Ren? Zhao Du couldn't help but cast his eyes on Lu Ren, but saw Lu Ren still standing comfortably, and he didn't seem to take any shots. That tailed beast jade is coming in an instant. How is the flow blade going to deal with it? Divine power. Lu Ren's long-range divine power was used directly, and a space vortex suddenly appeared in the air, covering the entire tailed beast jade shot by the seven tails. The space was distorted for a while, and the tailed beast jade disappeared directly in front of everyone. It was so easy and enjoyable to be cracked by the flow blade. With the divine power left eye transplanted from Obito, Kakashi used to transfer the Susanoo arrow shot by Sasuke Susanoo, and Naruto's spiral Maru, and Lu Ren now transfers a tailed beast jade. No problem. Zhao, is it this weird and powerful method again? Come down you. After easily cracking the tailed beast jade, Lu Ren slapped the ground with both palms again, and the power of magnetic dun was used, and a huge gold dust fist fell from the sky and smashed on Nanwei's body. He smashed Naneo from the sky to the ground, and fell right in front of Lu Ren. It's unreasonable. Who is this person? Incomparable horror flashed in Naneo's eyes. In front of this young ninja, he had no resistance at all. Being ravaged from start to finish. Lu Ren didn't pay attention to Naneo. At this time, he stared at Naneo's eyes, and the riding wheel in his pupils turned, and directly controlled Naneo with illusion. In Naneo's pupils, the phantom of Sharingan also flashed, and then suddenly became dazed and sluggish again. Go to sleep, Lu Ren ordered casually. Naneo just lay down in front of Lu Ren so honestly, not moving. Call. The two Takigakushi ninjas, who were about to be frightened, wiped the sweat from their foreheads, sweating profusely. The whole person was soaked with sweat at this moment. Lord Liuren, is it still like the 9 tails? Will the 7 tails be sealed again after a while? Orochimaru asked from the side at this time. Yes, wait a moment. Lu Ren replied casually. Orochimaru and Junmalu stopped talking, and stood quietly beside Lu Ren without asking more questions, waiting there with Lu Ren. As for those Takian villages Jonin, they were anxious and confused, but there was nothing they could do. Whether it was Lu Ren or Orochimaru, no one paid attention to them, but they were also very sad and helpless. There is no way. The Joinin of Takian village are all here. Even if they are asked to move rescue soldiers, there is no one they can move. At present, all they can do is to fidget and watch Lu Ren, doing anything wrong, anxiously. As for the old man Zhao Du, he is also a very interesting person, although he is very puzzled and curious about Liuren's practice. But he didn't ask any more questions. Anyway, as long as Lu Ren gave him a lot of money, then everything would be fine. Ding! The sign in location, Chongming, is generated. Half an hour later, when the sound of the system sounded in Lu Ren's mind, he sealed Naneo Shigeki back again while the two Takigakushi looked at him in astonishment. Okay, let's go. Lu Ren clapped his hands, as if he had done a trivial thing, greeted everyone, and left Takian village leisurely. Of course, village chief Shiki's illusion was also lifted by Lu Ren. When Mayor Shibuki heard what Rairin had done, he was quite stunned, and had no idea what Rairin wanted to do at all. He hurriedly went to check the seal on the seal container, and village chief Shiki was even more stunned. The seal has been completely reinforced. From now on, we no longer have to worry about Neneo's problems. Village chief Shiki couldn't believe his eyes. The original seal on the seal container has weakened to the extreme, making them no longer dare to use the seven tails to fight. But now, the seal on the sealing container is as stable as an old dog, and they can safely use Neneo in battle in the future. Great, Mom no longer has to worry about the corners coming to the door. After Neneo Shigeki's sign-in location was generated, Lu Ren completed the sign-in smoothly. There is no doubt that Neneo Chakra got his hands smoothly. After thinking about it, Lu Ren now has the chakras of one-tailed, three-tailed, nine-tailed, and seven-tailed four-tailed beasts in his body. It is one step closer to Chakra, who has gathered all the nine-tailed beasts. Flow Blade can be said to be full of fighting spirit. God no Pichao base. Obito is very focused on studying the forbidden technique he stole from Konoha, and he is so focused and serious. This has been going on for several days. However, the reincarnation of dirty soil involves the soul, which is much more difficult than ordinary forbidden techniques. The black and white on one side can definitely be seen in the eyes, and the pain in the heart. Forget it, now, I can only try this method. If the doubts in Obito's heart cannot be dispelled, the plan will not be able to return to the right track. But after a while, a resolute color flashed in Heiju's eyes. Obito, since Naruto was killed by you, some ninja villages have become restless. The Kingdom of Thunder seems to be moving. I plan to go and see, do you want to go? Black and white must deliberately make proposals on the side. Useless things, you can go by yourself, I won't go. As expected, Obito didn't even raise his head, and immediately refused. Right now, his whole mind is on the reincarnation of the dirty earth, and he has no intention to pay attention to such trivial matters as the Kingdom of Thunder robbing Konoha while the fire is on. Okay, then I'll go by myself. If there is anything, you can contact me through Baiju. Black and white absolutely, Obito said. Then he sank directly into the ground, and used the Mayfly technique to quickly travel through the ground. What Obito didn't know was that Black and White did not go to the Land of Thunder at all, that was just an excuse he made. The destination of Black and White Jew's trip, Obito is afraid that it is impossible to guess if he wants to break his head. Because of that place, no one in the entire ninja world knows about it except Black and White. Except for the 6 immortals who exist in the ninja world in the form of souls. Of course, the immortals of the 6 paths are only possible, and Black and White can never be determined. Gollum. After walking underground to a specific location, Black and White Jew emerged from the ground, but seeing that this is a place with beautiful mountains and clear waters. Looking around, there are lush green trees, gurgling water, and a small house by the spring, which looks like a place where someone lives in seclusion. At the door of the house, a man who looked like a monk was grilling fish with a torch, and the scent of meat wafted out. It's really a leisurely life, see Shion. Heiju walked towards the monk with a slight smile. The monks were still grilling fish there, as if they didn't see Black and White at all. Intel Highway stood still in front of the monk, and said leisurely, or should I call you Otsutsuki Yishi? The monk's action of grilling the fish stopped for a moment. He turned his head and glanced at Heiju, and hummed softly, "You guy, how dare you appear in front of me? Aren't you afraid that I will kill you? If you want to kill me, you will do it the moment I appear, so why wait until now?" Black and White said confidently. Thousands of years ago, Heiju's mother, Kagaya Otsutsuki, was ordered to come to Earth to plant a sacred tree. In fact, she had a partner, and that partner was Aikishi Otsutsuki. Not only that, Otsutsuki's status is actually higher than Otsutsuki Kagaya, and the relationship between the two is like Peach and Jin. It's just that the two had an accident in the process of planting the divine tree, and Kagaya made a sneak attack at a critical moment. As a result, Yishi was seriously injured. If it hadn't been for the use of Xiaoming Viguna to hide in the body of Shion who was passing by at the time, Yishi would have already died. Strictly speaking, Yishi actually had a grudge against Kagaya Otsutsuki. But considering that the mission of Yishi and Kagaya to come to Earth to plant the sacred tree has completely failed, when the Otsutsukimoto family arrives, whether it is Yishi or Kagaya, they will face the anger from the family. At this point, the two are in the same hatred again. Hence the above dialogue. These two people are all guys who have existed in the ninja world for thousands of years. In fact, both of them are aware of each other's existence, but it is the first time that they have officially met. Hearing Heiju's words, Si Xian just snorted coldly. You are just a product of Kagaya's consciousness, are you worthy of letting me take action? Black and White were absolutely noncommittal, and did not argue with Si Xian Duojia. He didn't come to quarrel, but to seek Si Xian's help. Sixian, I need your help, Heiju said bluntly to Si Xian. Then, he told Si Xian about the Eye of the Moon plan and the difficulties he was currently encountering. There is no way, Si Xian is not Uchiha Madara, he can live by flickering, and it is impossible not to tell the truth to the other party. What's more, Si Xian is different from other people, even if he knows the truth, it doesn't matter. Ha ha ha, Si Xian couldn't help laughing when he heard the words, so you came to me and asked me to pretend to be a six-path immortal to fool that Uchiha Obito. Yes, this is exactly the purpose of Black and White to find Si Xian. Since Uchiha Obito has doubts about why the Six Paths Immortals left the Uchiha clan's steel, the contents of the steel, etc., then Black and White will simply come to the bottom of the pot. Let the Immortals of the Six Paths appear in person and instill the Eye of the Moon plan into Obito. At that time, you are still worried about not being able to break the soil back. Of course, it is too difficult to pretend to be a six-path immortal, but it is not someone who can pretend to be casual, especially when Obito has the Eye of Reincarnation. So Black and White found Si Xian. Heiju is the product of Wei Yi's consciousness. Personally, I guess that after Wei Yi separates it, his memories are also synchronized, or he can communicate with his consciousness at any time. Great reasonable. In this case, it is also possible for Heiju to know Yi Shi. There is no mention of this in the Fire Shadow, so just follow my settings, not to conflict with the existing settings in the Fire Shadow. The reason why Heiju asked Si Xian to do this extremely important thing is not for anything else, because there is no one else in the entire ninja world who can do this except Si Xian. Why? Because the 6th level chakra is too difficult to disguise. Obito's reincarnation eye has 7 attributes of water, fire, wind, thunder, earth, and yin and yang at the same time. But this kind of chakra, Sixian has it here, because Sixian has already made 10-tail here. 10-tailed chakra, isn't it the 6th level chakra? What's more, Datongmu Yishi and Ludao Immortal's mother are of the same clan. In terms of blood, Datongmu Yishi is more pure than Ludao Immortal. As long as there is a 6th level chakra, then everything else is easier to handle. Sixian, I know that you and your mother have had some festivals. It can even be called a grudge, but your mother's resurrection is more beneficial than harmful to you, isn't it? There is such a big problem with the divine tree now, aren't you afraid that the people of the Otsutsukimoto family will find out and come to this planet? At that time, do you want to deal with them alone? If you resurrect your mother, she will be your comrade in arms. And the reason why my mother shot you at that time was just because you wanted to sacrifice your mother to the 10 tails. Now that you have a 10-tail, and your mother has swallowed the fruit of the divine tree, you have no conflict of interest. Under Heiju's persuasion, Si Xian pondered for a while. Finally, he nodded and agreed. Although he and Kagaya had had an unpleasant past, Black and White was absolutely right. In the matter of Kagaya's resurrection, the good for him outweighed the harm. Kagaya's sneak attack at the time nearly killed him, and he didn't recover even after so long. If the people from the family really came, he would have no ability to deal with it. Very good, then let's discuss the specific details now. Heiju smiled with great satisfaction. After some in-depth conversation, Heiju sank back into the ground with a smile. Shinwu Pichao Underground Base. Black and White Ju reappeared, and he turned his head to see that Obito was still studying the reincarnation of dirty soil. However, Black and White Ju, who had already finalized a big plan, no longer had any worries and anxiety at this time. Instead, he took the initiative to go over and study the art of reincarnation of dirty soil together with Obito. When the heat was in full swing, Obito suddenly froze for a moment, as if he had noticed something. He turned his head abruptly, his eyes widened, and he saw that in this extremely secret cave, there was an extra person at some point. Looking around, I saw that the man was wearing a white robe, the two horns on his forehead and a pair of reincarnation eyes were so eye-catching. Wait a minute, this guy has a third eye on his forehead in addition to the reincarnation eye. Or a writing wheel, and the tin stick in his hand, the 6 black balls floating under his feet. Although Obito didn't recognize what it was, he also felt a very unusual chakra fluctuation from above. That is the chakra fluctuation that fuses 7 attributes together. Not only that, this new guy, like a phantom, is actually suspended in the air. 6 paths immortals. At this moment, these 4 words flashed in Obito's mind involuntarily. Because the image in front of him is exactly the same as the image of the legendary 6 paths immortal. 6 path immortals, are they really 6 path immortals? Of course, Obito didn't believe that this person was a 6 path immortal from the very beginning. He used his Samsara Eye and Sharingan to carefully examine the 6 path immortal in front of him. But the immortal 6 paths in front of him was disguised by Otsutsuki using the power of yin and yang. It uses a more advanced technique beyond the transformation technique, the transformation technique. What is yin-yang escape? Yin-dun represents the power of the spirit, which can create a form in the invisible, and yang-dun represents the power of the body, which can inject power into the form. Yin and yang escape is the power of regeneration. During the Fourth World War, Mitekai opened the 8 gates of Dunjia, and with the help of Naito Minato and Kakashi kicked Liu Daoban into serious injuries. However, it was rescued by Naruto in time with the power of yin and yang escape. After Kakashi's riding wheel was dug out by Obito, Naruto used the yin-yang escape technique to create another eyeball for Kakashi. Otsutsuki changes on the basis of yin and yang. Strictly speaking, he has truly become another person, and all aspects of his body have undergone real changes. How is it possible to see through the soil? As for the 6th-level aura and chakra fluctuations, the pressure on the bloodline of the Otsutsuki clan over the ninjas is also real. Not fake at all. So Obito checked it for a while, but didn't see anything wrong. This is really the 6 path immortals. With the soil excited. Isn't the 6 path immortal able to suddenly appear in this extremely secret place silently? It's not a 6 path immortal. Can he have this kind of immortal aura, and a chakra with 7 attributes fused together? Not a 6 path immortal. Can he have the Eye of Reincarnation? The owner of the Eye of Reincarnation, I am an immortal of the 6 paths. Thousands of years ago, I spread chakra to the world, in order to pass on love, use chakra to benefit mankind, and make the world a better place. But what I didn't expect is that for thousands of years, there have been disputes in the ninja world, and people have developed ninjutsu with the chakra that I handed down to kill and fight. The chakra, which was supposed to light up the world, turned out to be a tool of war, bringing boundless darkness to the world. This goes against my original intention of handing down chakra, it's my mistake. In order to make up for the mistakes I made back then, in order to correct this deformed world and bring it back on track. In order to make the world into my ideal world full of love and happiness. As a last resort, I have launched a layout that spans thousands of years. And you, the owner of the Eye of Reincarnation, is the one who shoulders my great mission of reshaping a better world. I have been wandering in the ninja world for thousands of years, just to guide every owner of the Eye of Reincarnation. You, Uchiha Obito, the current owner of Samsara Eye, is you ready to take on my mission and reshape the ninja world? The 6 paths immortal was suspended in the air, and slowly said these words to Uchiha Obito with an unfathomable voice with special effects in a film and television drama. Lu Dao Shanren, is the layout that you are talking about spanning thousands of years, is it infinite monthly reading? After pondering for a while, Obito stared at Immortal 6 Paths and asked. It seems that the previous owner of the Eye of Reincarnation has already told you this plan. 6 Path Immortal nodded and looked directly into Obito's eyes. Then tell me, Obito, you are ready to carry this plan. 6 Path Immortals, I actually still have some doubts in my heart. Obito said, I hope you can explain my doubts. If you have any questions, just ask. 6 Paths Immortal Treasure Shang solemnly said. I want to ask, is the legend in the ninja world that you and your son Indra turned against each other, is it true? Obito asked the same question that Rairin asked him in the Kamui space. This is a past event that I don't want to mention. The six-path immortal's face showed a hint of sigh, disappointment and helplessness. In front of Obito, he admitted that the rumors in the ninja world that Indra betrayed him were true. If that's the case, then Sage of the Six Paths, why do you leave this mission to the descendants of Indra instead of Asura's descendants? Aren't you worried about Indra's descendants and disagree with your plan? This is also something that can't be helped, because the infinite monthly reading plan can only be implemented by the descendants of Indra. The Six Paths Immortals have already prepared the answer for this is why I will personally show up to guide the reason. Obito was speechless. The question that had been stagnant in my mind for a long time suddenly came through. The answer is that simple. Because the infinite monthly reading plan is a plan that can only be carried out by the continuous evolution of the writing wheel, and who will it be passed on to the descendants of Indra? The first question was simply answered. And what Lu Ren said was, based on the uncertainty of writing wheel eyes, so inheritance is risky, which is also self-defeating. Immortals of the Six Paths appear to speak in person, can they still be broken? It doesn't matter if the Uchiha family is dead. So now, only the most crucial question remains. Lu Dao Shanren, I used the Eye of Reincarnation to check the stone tablet you left at Nanga Shrine. I found that it was modified by someone using yin-yang escape technique. Do you know about this? Uchiha Obito stared at Six Paths Immortal and asked. Is it the stele of Nanga Shrine? The stele was accidentally damaged during the Warring States period because of the war, so I repaired it using the yin-yang escape technique. The traces of modification you mentioned should probably be traces of the stone monument I repaired back then. For this most crucial question, Otsutsuki Aikishi had already discussed the answer with Heiju long ago, and the answer was seamless. So, is that so? Sure enough, that guy's inferences are just some wild guesses. Obito was stunned. At this moment, all the doubts in his heart have been answered, and his confidence in the infinite monthly reading plan has returned. Black and White on one side saw the subtle change in Obito's expression, and couldn't help but secretly rejoice. The plan was successful. Uchiha Obito, do you have any other questions? Immortal Six Paths asked Obito from a high place again at this time. I have no problem. Obito raised his head again, with a resolute look on his face again. Six Path Immortal, I am willing to shoulder the mission that the owner of the Eye of Reincarnation should have. Reshape a better one, the ninja world. My way is not alone. After Lu Dao Shanren finished saying this, a black hole suddenly appeared beside him, and then he carried the Six Dao tin stick, and people stepped into it and disappeared. Lu Dao Immortal, this is Lu Dao Immortal, Obito. So are we actually doing things for Lu Dao Immortal now? Black and White deliberately shouted in a very surprised and exaggerated tone on the side. Obito seemed a lot calmer. He just glanced at it. Isn't there a guide spot for the Six Path Immortals before? I don't know. I was created by Madame Sama recently. Heiju smiled. Never mind that, now let's make a plan for the next step. Obito didn't take a second look at the scroll of the reincarnation of dirty soil, but began to speak to Heiju in a serious tone. It has changed back to the old Uchiha Obito. Reincarnation of dirty earth, didn't you watch it? Heiju said with a hint of teasing. I used to be short-sighted, and I was led astray by that guy. This kind of thing will not happen again in the future, Obito said to Heiju with a stern face. Black and White then nodded in satisfaction. Obito, that Uchiha of Konoha doesn't know why, but he seems to be very interested in tailed beasts too. Although he didn't do anything to the Nine Tails this time, and finally returned the Nine Tails to Konoha, I think we have to guard against it. Black and White absolutely and sternly said to Uchiha Obito. Obito nodded in agreement. Lu Ren's strength can be said to have caused a great psychological shadow on him. Even if he uses all means now, he is not the opponent's opponent at all. I think so too, that Uchiha of Konoha, we must take precautions early. What's more, once the unlimited monthly reading plan is launched, our current staff is not enough, so should we recruit some people? Obito said in agreement. Actually, I have already found a few very good candidates. Heiju smiled, then took out a document and gave it to Obito. Obito took it over and opened it, and there were already some ninja information recorded on it. Biliuhu, Konoha rebelled against forbearance, and created a secret method called Gue Yaluo, which confused the boundaries of other people's blood into himself. Shen Nong, a remnant of the air ninja, pretended to be a wandering doctor on the surface, but he was actually the leader of the remnant of the Air Ninja, and he held an Air Ninja army in his hands. Huang Quan, the creator of the undead army that almost destroyed the ninja world, holds the power of spear. In the ninja world, there are still so many monsters and ghosts hidden. Obito was very surprised. According to the introduction in the black and white information, the strength of these guys is simply too terrible, especially some guys. It is only easy to compete with a country. But then, Obito's eyes were filled with incomparable fighting spirit. If these guys are all under his command, it would be easy to destroy Konoha. What's so scary about Konoha's Uchiha? Yangshi, then, let's start meeting these guys. Obito closed the documents in his hand and said with high fighting spirit. At this moment, Obito was full of energy. After returning from Takian village, Lu Ren continued to start his ordinary days, going to work, signing in, and going out to play with Yuhika from time to time. Nothing worth mentioning. The relationship between Uchiha and the village is still very tense and embarrassing. Konoha executives hold meetings at two ends every 3 days, and it can be said that there is a quarrel over how to deal with the Uchiha family. What happened in the Nine Tails Rebellion, whether it was the power of the Uchiha clan or the attitude towards the village, all sounded the alarm to Konoha. The difference from the original is that this time the village's attitude towards Uchiha is much worse than before. After all, although Minato Namaifung also sacrificed in the original work, it was his own initiative to choose to end his own life. Not only that, the death of Namikaze Minato was not entirely because of the Nine Tails was just a part of it. Namikaze Minato decided to seal a part of Kushina's chuck, together with the Nine Tails, in Naruto's body when he heard that Uzumaki Kushina regretted that he could not see Naruto's future. In this way, Uzumaki Kushina will meet Naruto in the future. Moreover, Minato Namikaze also firmly believed that the son of prophecy that his teacher Jiraiya said was his own son, so he entrusted everything to Naruto. Judging from the conversation between Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, even if Minato Namikaze does not take action, Kushina Uzumaki can also seal the Nine Tails. It's just that the price is complete death, exhausting the last trace of chakra, and then you will not be able to meet Naruto in the future. At the same time, when the Nine Tails are resurrected again, they will cause trouble again because there is no human pillar force. The reason for Watergate's suicide is actually a combination of many factors. But now, the Uchiha family not only released the Nine Tails, but Obito also severely injured the third generation of Eyes and killed the fourth generation of Megami Fung Minato. This is indeed much worse than before. However, this atmosphere did not affect Lu Ren. What should he do? Everything was business as usual. Afternoon. After finishing work, Rairin returned to his clan, had a conversation with Uchiha and his wife, and then returned to his room. It's been almost half a month since the last time. I don't know how the Red Sand Scorpion is doing now. Lu Ren thought for a while, his mind moved, and he entered the divine power space again. The Red Sand Scorpion was lying on the ground like a corpse, and there was no trace of chakra fluctuations all over his body. This guy couldn't bear this psychological loneliness. Did he commit suicide? Lu Ren couldn't help thinking. However, when he walked to the Red Sand Scorpion for inspection, he found that the Red Sand Scorpion was not without the slightest chakra fluctuations. His control center still has the slightest, extremely weak chakra fluctuations. But if you don't feel it carefully, you can't feel it at all. You came. The voice of the Red Sand Scorpion suddenly sounded, and at the same time the chakra on the Red Sand Scorpion returned to normal, and the others climbed up directly from the ground. Lu Ren felt a little surprised. The other party was like a candle in the wind a second ago, as if the chakra would be completely broken at any time. Resurrected with blood in the next second. What is the Red Sand Scorpion doing? I agree with your previous proposal. Without waiting for Lu Ren to speak again, the Red Sand Scorpion said directly to Lu Ren. He also directly took out a scroll and handed it to Lu Ren. I thought I was going to waste some words. Lu Ren was stunned, and then took the scroll directly. After opening it and taking a look, I put it away. I have already given you what you want. You can either let me out or kill me. The Scorpion of Red Sand said to Lu Ren in a deep voice at this time. God knows how he spent the past half-month. The whole world is pitch black, there is no difference between day and night, and there is no one else except the Red Sand Scorpion. This kind of psychological torture simply drove the Red Sand Scorpion crazy. In the end, he had to use a secret technique to put himself into a state of dormancy, and finally made it to the present. If the scorpion of red sand continues to stay in this ghost place, he would rather die. I'll deal with you after I'm sure that this technique is real. After Lu Ren said these words to the red sand scorpion, the person disappeared completely in front of the red sand scorpion and returned to his room. The red sand scorpion lay silently on the ground and continued to sleep. The chakra on his body was once again as weak as a candle in the wind. In the next few days, Lu Ren has been studying this technique of the red sand scorpion, but what makes him very painful is that this technique of the red sand scorpion is incomplete. Or rather incomplete. The first half of the technique is a technique for summoning souls from another world. This technique seems to be relatively complete, with all theories integrated into one, and there are not many flaws. But how to make the summoned soul into a puppet later is obviously not very reliable. Simply put, it's like a draft. After I asked the red sand scorpion, I found out that the red sand scorpion was developed because of an accidental technique that could summon souls from another world, combined with its unique puppet body. This technique is immature, and when it is used, it will bring great backlash to oneself, and there is no guarantee that it will succeed every time. This crap. Lu Ren decisively threw away the control method developed by the red sand scorpion himself, leaving only the technique of summoning the soul of another world in front. Anyway, he has the eye of reincarnation and the power of the human way, and he can roughly control the soul body. Using red sand scorpion's half-hearted soul manipulation technique to make oneself fall asleep for several days at once is not as reliable as developing the power of the human way. Before that, let's try this summoning technique to see if it's reliable. Ryu thought so. However, just to be cautious, he did not use the main body to directly experiment with the summoning technique, but separated a shadow clone to do this. After all, Lu Ren was not sure what kind of soul he would summon. In case a soul body of the level of the god of death in the corpse was summoned, wouldn't that be courting death? Of course, this possibility is extremely low, but it's always right to be steady in everything, right? Lu Ren not only used the shadow clone to do this kind of thing, but also went to the Shenwei space to do it. According to the steps on the scroll, Lu Blade drew esoteric and complex spells on the ground, and prepared some related props. Then he quickly sealed his hands and began to slap the ground hard. All the spells were activated, and those complicated and incomprehensible spell patterns seemed to be programmed in advance, and started to operate with the activation of the flow blade. Soon, a kind of sci-fi, vague passage, like in a sci-fi movie, appeared in front of Lu Ren. The passage to the different world has been opened. What you need to do next is to use this great formation to suck the captured souls. The red sand scorpion said on the side. Lu Ren nodded and said nothing. He has already studied and understood the technique of summoning the soul, and he can operate it alone without the guidance of the red sand scorpion. But then Lu Ren was a little confused, because there was a picture in the so-called passage in front of him. But see that it is a desolate place. The ground was littered with weeds, and in some places dotted with a tree or two, and even trying to look ahead, there was even a dilapidated house. Lu Ren couldn't help stunned. Is this the so-called different space? Originally, when the red sand scorpion told him that this technique was to summon the soul of another world, Lu Ren didn't think much about it. But everyone came straight over with a swipe of their souls. The scorpion of crimson sand is so good, it can even see that other world. That's great. Is this a different world? Lu Ren suddenly became very interested. It began to look like watching a movie, carefully looking at the other world displayed on the screen. But so far, the style of that world is not much different from the style of my own world, but I don't know what kind of world it is. Next, Lu Ren tried it. He could control the screen to move, so as to observe different places in another world. That's it. A destructive, desolate, and chaotic world appeared in front of Lu Ren. Kill him. Hit me hard. Let him taste the pain. After observing for a while, a noisy sound came from the channel, and Lu Ren hurriedly controlled the screen to move over. A group of people who were fighting and wrestling with each other appeared in front of Lu Ren. Lu Ren became more and more excited. Because those people speak the same language as Naruto world, and they all dress the same way, is it a parallel world? What are you doing? Hurry up and grab a soul. Let me remind you, don't be discovered by some powerful souls, otherwise I don't know what will happen. The red sand scorpion said to the flow blade expressionlessly. Lu Ren was a little surprised. These are all living people, how can there be souls? Could it be that this channel can directly suck the soul out of the human body? If that's the case, I wouldn't consider using this blade, it would be too evil. Don't be stupid, this is the underworld. What you see are all souls. The red sand scorpion explained. Underworld? No, brother, how does the underworld look so similar to the real world? Oh, interesting, what kind of means is this? Suddenly, a voice came from the screen. At the same time, a person just walked towards the screen, staring at the screen with great curiosity. I saw that man had a ferocious and terrifying face, and a long scar on his left face ran through half of his face, the kind that could definitely scare a crying child. The hair is also combed into long strands of long broken hair, all of which are pulled back, which is a hairstyle that ordinary people can't control. This is so impossible. When Lu Ren saw this face, he almost glared his eyes out. Because of this face, he is no stranger. And then Lu Ren saw that the man took out a knife that was smashed to the extreme. The knife was very narrow, long and thin, and there were many gaps on it. Simply appalling. But it was such a knife, held by the man in his hand, and slashed fiercely at the passage. A terrifying and incomparable force suddenly came, and the channel that Lu Ren had just opened collapsed immediately. Not only that, but an incomparably powerful force penetrated through the passage. An incomparably fierce sword energy spread out in an instant, and the entire Shinwei space seemed to be enveloped in a layer of chilling aura. Lu Ren's thoughts moved, and the person disappeared immediately, and he was instantly transferred out of the divine power space. Click. The red sand scorpion didn't have time to dodge, and was split into two halves by the sword energy. The next moment, Lu Ren used the divine power pupil technique to transfer in again, and his face was still full of horror. Through the knife just now, he was more and more sure of the identity of the other party, and sweat suddenly flowed from his forehead. Zaraki Kenpachi. That guy just now turned out to be Zanaki Kenpachi. Isn't that too wasted up? So the underworld in the mouth of the red sand scorpion is actually the world of the god of death. The soul body captured by the red sand scorpion is actually a person in the corpse soul world. This really made Lu Ren feel that his wife was surprised. He didn't expect that the world of the god of death actually existed. But soon he was dumbfounded. The world of Hokage exists. What is the reason for the fuss about the existence of the world of death? However, the previous Zaraki Kenpachi didn't wear a blindfold, and he didn't wear a death tyrant outfit. Judging from the time, it should still be when he was in exile on Liuhun Street. This can also be a good explanation for why the world that Lu Ren saw before was so rubbish and chaotic. Is this summoning technique too stupid? Fortunately, it only opened a passage in Liuhun Street. If you accidentally drive into the Serange, it will be a cola. Ryan shrugged, thinking self-deprecatingly. Forget it, keep this technique for now, it's not necessary for the time being. Lu Ren just thought about it for a while before making this decision. Anyway, he has a lot of methods now, and he is not so demanding on the soul puppet technique of the red sand scorpion. Having it as the icing on the cake, allowing him to add another one in the whole card library of countless powerful tricks. If not, it will be harmless. After checking the red sand scorpion in the past, Lu Ren found that this sad baby was dead, a real death. Because his control center was split into two pieces by the Zergi sword, there was no possibility of resurrection. Poor baby. Lu Ren shook his head and sent the corpse of the red sand scorpion out of the Shinwei space. He also found a random place outside Konoha village and buried the red sand scorpion, which was considered to be the funeral for the red sand scorpion. Although it is a bit sloppy, it is much better than those ninjas who are dead in the wilderness without a burial place. After more than 2 months of nervousness and embarrassment, Konoha's 48 years quickly approached the end of the year. December 27th. This day is an extremely ordinary day for many people, and the same is true for Lu Ren. He patrols with everyone as usual. Have you heard that the daughter of Lord Hyuga Hazu is born? Really, no wonder the people of the Hinata clan are so happy today. This is the princess of the Hyuga family. Walking in the village, Lu Ren can clearly feel that the atmosphere in the village is very good today, and there are constantly villagers talking about this matter in every corner. Hinata, this is really a lucky little guy. Even the companions who patrolled with Ryoran couldn't help but sigh twice. After all, the Hyuga clan is quite special. Although the branch family and the clan family are of the same clan, their treatment is very different. Once you have the wrong pregnancy, your life will be completely different. The little guy named Hinata who was just born today was reincarnated into the daughter of the patriarch Hyuga. Can be said to be very lucky. Has the princess been born? Ryoran on one side was slightly surprised. Although Hinata didn't have a high sense of presence in Hokage, he was the most unprovoked person in Hokage. He shook his head and continued to brag and patrol with his companions, but he didn't take this matter to heart. Like everyone else, it's just something to talk about. It's just that no one thought that on another planet far away from the ninja world, or even far away from the Earth, there are also a few people who are paying attention to the newly born Hinata. Moon. In a magnificent but eerie castle, two old men were observing the newly born Hinata through giant tensegans. The two of them are none other than the Otsutsuki clan on the moon, and they are also the younger brother of the Six Path Immortals, the descendants of Otsutsuki Yukin. The Otsutsuki clan on the moon also had a glorious time, but because of different ideas, the split family and the clan started a war. Although the Zong family was eventually destroyed by the split also suffered heavy casualties, and now only these two are left. Shinichi Otsutsuki and Genyuki Otsutsuki. Otsutsuki Schwanyu was originally a nobody, but he lived for a long time, not worth mentioning, but Otsutsuki Shinichi gave birth to a son, named Otsutsuki Sharon. What a high purity. This purity is simply amazing. It's unbelievable that such a low-level family can have such high purity white eyes. Shinichi Otsutsuki and the others were shocked by the white eyes of the newly born Hinata. In their opinion, although the Hinata clan is their kinship by birth, they are not worthy of being compared with them at all, and they are a race that is one level lower than them. But it is this kind of race that can give birth to white eyes that are very rare in their race. Since the battle with the Zong family, the population of the separated family has withered, and the population has become so sparse that it is impossible to reproduce offspring. Therefore, Shinichi Otsutsuki and the others have been paying attention to the Hinata family on Earth in recent years, hoping to find a person who can be worthy of the Otsutsuki family to continue the incense for the Otsutsuki family. Originally, they did not have much hope for this plan. But who would have thought that a surprise was discovered today? Shinichi, if it's such a pure white eye, it's worthy of giving up. Otsutsuki Schwanyu said to Otsutsuki Shinichi with her eyes shining brightly. Otsutsuki Shinichi also nodded heavily, and there was no objection for the time being. However, this matter is of great importance. In order not to contaminate the blood of the Otsutsuki family by the inferior blood, Shinichi Otsutsuki is still very cautious. Let's pay attention to this Hinata first, and after 2 years, I'll go down and see for myself. Otsutsuki Shin added with a stern look on his face. Spring and autumn have come, and the cold and heat have changed. In the blink of an eye, 2 years have passed since the Nine Tails Rebellion. The past 2 years have been a low point for Konoha. Not only did Konoha lose the important figure of Minato, his strength was greatly reduced, but he also had a 2-year tug of war with Union. After Namikaze Minato died, Yun Yin, who had always had a sturdy style, did not miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and shot Konoha. The battle lasted more than 2 years. Konoha and Union have their own consumption, and it can be said that there is no real winner. The two sides have been tugging for such a long time, and they are a little impatient. After many consultations and negotiations, finally, in the year of Konoha 51, substantial progress has been made. Union sent a mission to Konoha to negotiate a peace treaty. Once the two sides reach an agreement, an armistice will be signed directly, ending the years-long war between Konoha and Union. When the news came out, the whole Konoha could be said to be jubilant, even more festive than during the festival. The Konoha bitter war is long. Konoha Guard Headquarters. Uchiha Fuyu looked serious, and he explained a series of things to the guards in front of him. Tomorrow, the Union mission will arrive in Konoha, everyone cheers me up, and there is no slack. These days the Union mission is conducting peace talks in Konoha, we have to ensure their safety. This negotiation is very important to the village, and there must be no mistakes. I will issue the new roster later, and you will be on duty according to the new roster tomorrow. Once there is any trouble, report it to me as soon as possible, understand? All the Konoha guards replied loudly, understood. After a while, a new roster was issued, one for each person. Lu Ren glanced at it, and the workload doubled directly. It used to be 3 laps, but now it needs to patrol 5 laps, and the guards have to repeatedly patrol the places that were originally less important. Even in the evening, more than 3 hours of work were added. In addition, even at night, special personnel are also required to be on duty. But even so, no one complained. Everyone understands the significance of this peace negotiation, and there can be absolutely no surprises. In addition to the Konoha Guard, a similar conversation is also taking place in the Hokage building. Sarutobi Hizen also began to issue orders to the people of Anbu. It is necessary to do a good job in the security of the village in the few days when the Union mission arrives, and there must be no accidents. Don't think that peace negotiations will be easy. Didn't the second generation of Musou Tobarama die during the peace negotiations with Yun Yin? At that time, the 2 brothers, the Golden Horn and the Silver Horn, were dissatisfied with the signing of a peace treaty with Konoha. As a result, they staged a coup d'état, resulting in the death of the second Hokage and the second Raikage. With such a painful lesson, how could Konoha dare to be negligent in this peace negotiation? Not only the security in the village, Sarutobi Hizen had dispatched several ninja teams to quietly leave the village a few days ago, secretly monitoring the team of the Union mission along the way. Prevent this team from doing anything wrong. It can be said that from the moment the Union mission just left the Kingdom of Thunder, one piece of information has been continuously passed to the Hokage office. The atmosphere in Konoha right now can be said to be very complex, tense and joyous. But for Lu Ren, he didn't pay much attention to this peace negotiation, instead he was still thinking about some messy things. In my impression, this peace negotiation is actually not peaceful at all, and Yun Yin, who has always been a rogue, has really made some moves. He even took this opportunity to try to kidnap Hinata. As a result, Yun Ren, who committed the crime, was killed by Hyuga Hazu on the spot. Yun Yin used this as an excuse to make a big fuss, and used the war as an excuse to aggressively put pressure on Konoha. And the consistent style of the 3 generations of Sarutobi Hizen is to be obedient to the outside world and strike hard at the inside, just like this to kill Neji and his father. Poor Hyuga, who has become a cannon fodder for high-level politics like this, how embarrassing it is to die. The next day, Ryuin and the rest of the Konoha Guard went to work early and began an intensive patrol of the village. At about 10 o'clock, Lu Ren heard a commotion from the village. It was the happy cheers and discussions of the villagers. Lu Ren immediately knew that the Union mission was here. Sure enough, during his next patrol, he saw the team of the Union mission from a distance. Sarutobi Hizen personally led the Konoha ninja and solemnly received the Union mission at the entrance. Is Yun Yin abducting the crown princess this time? Is it a premeditated plan or a temporary intention? Lu Ren couldn't help thinking so in his heart. After all, if you think about it carefully, it actually reveals a strangeness. If Union really intends to stop the war with Konoha, and comes to sign a peace treaty with sincerity, then he will not shoot at Konoha clan ninja casually. After all, ninjas are a kind of militarized management team and obey orders. If the mission is ordered to negotiate peace, it will be peace negotiation, and it will not cause trouble at such a critical juncture and lead to the failure of the mission. Ninja quests aren't just playing games. So could it be that Union's negotiation is just a pretense, and the real purpose is actually to kidnap Hinata? Lu Ren couldn't see why Hinata was so important to Yun Yin. Taking a step back, even if the other party really has a reason to do this, it is not enough to send these Union ninjas in front of you. This is Konoha base camp. What's more, if the other party really has this goal, then they should complete the task at all costs, and they won't stop after Konoha's death. Anyway, this is indeed a strange thing. After thinking for a while in his heart, Lu Ren's thoughts moved into the immortal mode, and his immense perception suddenly covered the entire Konoha. All Union ninjas were found in an instant. Now the Union ninjas in Konoha village are indeed the only representatives of these 7 missions, and there are no other hidden Union ninjas. And these 7 Union ninjas, 3 shangnin, 4 zongnin, this battle can be said to be a scumbag. If you want to do any small action in Konoha, it is courting death. In this case, Yun Yin's shot against the crown princess as a temporary intention. But soon Lu Ren shook his head. He felt that this was unreasonable. As he thought before, Union Ninja came with an order. How could he mess things up? Continuing to expand the range of perception, covering the outside of Konoha village, Lu Ren also did not find any Union Ninja ambush outside. From all of this, it seems that the other party is sincere in signing the peace treaty. Forget it, what's wrong with love? Anyway, the crown princess won't have an accident, the son is getting worse. It's not good for his life. Lu Ren shrugged and couldn't help but think so. No. But just when Lu Ren was about to put away the immortal mode, he sensed 2 very special chakras descended outside Konoha village. Why is it special? Because he can clearly perceive through the contours of chakra fluctuations that one of them is a child. That talent is only as high as his own waist, and even if he can't see the real appearance of the other party, he can judge that it is a child. After all, I haven't heard of gnomes in Hokage. Not only that, the chakra possessed by that child is also very rare, and it has 5 attributes of water, fire, earth, wind, and thunder at the same time. This is very insane. The 5 attributes are full of chakra, which is very rare in the entire ninja world. And beside this child, there is another ninja who has the same 5 attributes of chakra as this child, through the perception of its chakra amount. It's also terrifying. Obviously, this big and small 2 people must be a group. In the ninja world, when did you have such a number 1 ninja? And at this time, why did they come to Konoha? Lu Ren felt that this was a bit unusual. Considering that at such a sensitive and critical moment, Ryuin still has reason to doubt whether the matter of Hinata has something to do with these 2 people. But in the end, these things have nothing to do with Lu Ren, he just thinks about gossip, and he doesn't pay much attention to it. Come on, keep patrolling. Lu Ren greeted his comrades beside him, and continued to start his work as if nothing had happened. What Lu Ren didn't know was that when he took back the perception of immortal mode, the ninja outside Konoha village who was perceived by him frowned slightly. Father, what's wrong? The child beside him raised his head and asked the old man beside him. I just seem to feel a feeling of being spied on. The old man said with a slight frown. It is worth noting that the eyes of the old man and the child are a pair of blank eyes. Have you been found out? The child said with a bit of surprise. This kind of thing seemed unbelievable to him. It shouldn't be, maybe it's my illusion. The old man thought for a while and shook his head. He has just arrived, and no one has entered Konoha village. How could he be discovered? How could Konoha be so powerful? However, today's Konoha's security seems to be a bit strict. The old man rolled his eyes, and the whole Konoha situation was in full view, he said very unexpectedly. Then do we still go to Hyuga's house? Of course. Sharon. Chapter 91. There is no doubt that the 2 uninvited guests who came outside Konoha village were from the Otsutsuki family on the moon, Shinichi Otsutsuki and Todo Otsutsuki and their son. Shinichi Otsutsuki has noticed each other since Hinata was born. Now that more than 2 years have passed, he really did the same as he had decided 2 years ago to check it out in person. As for Todo Otsutsuki, it was when I heard that my father was going to the lower realm, to personally test whether a woman was qualified to be his wife in the future, so he wanted to come down with him. When Otsutsuki Sharon was very young, there was a brutal war in the clan. In order to defeat the clan, the branch family sacrificed the white eyes of almost all the clan members, condensed into a huge tenseigan, and won the victory. Otsutsuki Todoran's eyes were also gouged out at that time. Now the white eyes in Otsutsuki's pupils are not real white eyes, but a pair of false eyes condensed by Shinichi Otsutsuki using the power of the giant tenseigan. It can also be used for a few days. Father, when are we going? Todo Otsutsuki asked his father with excitement and anticipation. He was actually very interested in the wife that his father chose for him. Don't worry, Konoha seems to have something to happen today, it won't be too late for me to find out the details first. Otsutsuki Shinichi touched Otsutsuki Sharon's small head and said. If it was before, Shinichi Otsutsuki would not have been so careful, they simply looked down on ninjas on Earth. But since the outsider golem was inexplicably stolen, the Otsutsuki clan on the moon began to no longer despise the ninjas on Earth. After all, the outer Dao golem has been missing for so many years, and they have been using the giant Tensegan to search in the ninja world, but they have never been able to find any clues. Especially now, there are only 3 remaining members of the once prosperous Otsutsuki clan, and Otsutsuki Shinichi acts more cautiously. Oh, Todo Otsutsuki nodded and said nothing. Otsutsuki Shinichi began to use his white eyes to carefully check the situation in Konoha village. When he realized that it was almost 5 steps, 1 post and 10 steps and 1 post, his brows could not help but wrinkle slightly. With Konoha's current level of incomparable defense, it is undoubtedly difficult for him to sneak into the Hinata clan without a sound. Seeing his father's contemplative appearance, Todo Otsutsuki also seemed to have noticed something. "Father, is there something wrong?" "No problem." Otsutsuki Shin smiled. "Although it is a little troublesome, it is no problem, but it may be later." Otsutsuki Shinichi began to quietly observe the situation in Konoha village. Of course, neither Lu Ren nor the other ninjas in Konoha village noticed all of this. Everything is going on as usual in the village. Sarutobi Hizen first arranged for the Union mission to visit Konoha, and after some superficial work was done, he arranged accommodation for the Union mission. As soon as various insignificant processes are gone, half a day has passed. The next half day is the rest time of the Union mission, and the formal negotiation will not officially start until the next day. Before the official negotiation began, the Union mission's work in Konoha's repairs and the details of the Union mission were also thoroughly understood by the ninjas of Anbu. Lord Naruto, it has been checked clearly. Apart from the 7 ninjas on the surface, this Union mission has no hidden power. Kakashi reports to Sarutobi Hizen at the Hokage office. Call. When Sarutobi Hizen heard the words, Yunyu exhaled a puff of smoke, and heaved a long sigh of relief. It seems that Yunyin really sincerely wants to negotiate peace with Konoha this time. I see, you go down first. Sarutobi Hizen waved his hand and sent Kakashi away. After procrastinating for so long, this war can finally be over, and I can get a good night's sleep. Hiruzen Sarutobi knocked the ash from his pipe and muttered to himself. But what Sarutobi Hizen would never have imagined was that beneath the seemingly smooth and peaceful surface, there was an invisible dark wave surging. This dark wave comes from 2 uninvited guests who have secretly infiltrated Konoha, Lord Otsutsuki. It turned out to be the Union mission, came to sign a peace treaty with Konoha. Not bad. Shinichi Otsutsuki, who was hiding in the dark, had a meaningful smile on his face. Father, the Union mission came to Konoha for peace talks. Konoha's guards must be tighter than usual, how can this be not bad? Todo Otsutsuki asked with some incomprehension. After all, he is still a child, so some things are incomprehensible. Because Konoha has more people with great authority. Otsutsuki Shinichi smiled and said to Otsutsuki Totoro, it's more convenient for us to do things. After all, the Hinata clan is one of the top clans in Konoha. It is not easy for Shinichi Otsutsuki to sneak into the clan of such a clan without a sound. But it's a lot easier if the target is a cloud-hidden ninja. After all, the Union mission is an important guest in Konoha, and in the reception room that Konoha arranged for the Union mission, there is no one else except the 7 Union ninjas, which is simply a godsend opportunity. Unlike the Hyuga clan, there must be patrolling posts at all times. If you start with Union ninja, the difficulty factor can be reduced by more than 1 point or 2. Even during this period, if Union messenger couldn't stand the loneliness and wandered around in Konoha village, it would be even more equivalent to coming directly to the door. As long as Otsutsuki Shinichi uses the unique puppet control technique of their Otsutsuki clan to control some Union messengers, then sneaking into the Hinata clan will become much easier. He only needs to officially visit the Hinata clan in the name of the mission. In this way, you can enter the clan of the Hinata clan in a grand manner. The next thing, won't it become a matter of course? That's why Otsutsuki Shinichi is so satisfied. Then, let's get started. Shinichi Otsutsuki opened his eyes again, and the Konoha patrols around the mission reception center appeared in his field of vision. The distribution of the Union missions in the reception hall was also clearly seen. Otsutsuki found a patrol blind spot very easily, and with Todo Otsutsuki, he easily sneaked into the mission reception. At this time, all the Union ninjas in the reception hall returned to their rooms. Here, Sharon, Shinichi Otsutsuki appeared outside one of the rooms with Todo Otsutsuki. Dang dang. Otsutsuki Shinichi gently knocked on the door outside, politely, and after a while, the door was pushed open. The ninja Rinkawa, who led the Union mission, looked at Shinichi Otsutsuki strangely, the ninja of the Hyuga family. Do you have anything to do? Yes, Rinkawa directly regarded Shinichi Otsutsuki as the Hinata clan. After all, this is Konoha, and the other party has white eyes, so there is really no doubt about it. What's more, the other party also brought a child, which didn't cause Rin Chuan's suspicion at all. After all, who is plotting evil and bringing a child by his side, right? Shinichi Otsutsuki didn't talk nonsense, and when he turned his hand, a ball of light appeared, and then he quickly pressed the ball of light into Rin Chuan's body. The two were originally face to face, and Rin Chuan had no defenses, so he was instantly attacked. After the ball of light entered the body, Rin Chuan immediately became the puppet of Shinichi Otsutsuki. Yangshi. Otsutsuki Shinichi clapped his hands, and then led Todo Otsutsuki directly into Rinchuan's room. Then Otsutsuki Shinichi controlled Rinchuan's body, called another mission ninja over, and also controlled him. As for more ninjas, sorry, Shinichi Otsutsuki can't compare to Totoro Otsutsuki's talent. If he is alive, he can only control 2 at most. But 2 are enough. After doing all this, Otsutsuki Shinichi controlled the leading ninja Rinchuan and called all the Union ninjas over. Everyone, get ready, we are going to visit some big families in Konoha now. Rin Chuan suddenly announced to everyone. One of the Union ninjas was very strange. Lord Rinchuan, isn't our mission this time to negotiate peace with Konoha? The mission is indeed the case, but during the peace negotiations, it is normal for us to conduct certain exchange visits to Konoha. Rinkawa glanced at the questioning ninja and said. Without waiting for the other party to answer, he said again, at the same time as the visit, try to collect more information about the Konoha clan for the village, understand? The other ninjas were slightly startled, and then they stopped talking nonsense, and said in unison, understood. It is true that this mission is indeed a peaceful negotiation, but on the basis of not sabotaging this mission, why not do more things that are beneficial to the village? Right now, Rinchuan formally made this request to Konoha in the name of the mission. Union wants to visit some families of Konoha. When Sarutobi Hizen heard the news, he was slightly surprised, but then he smiled dumbly. Could it be that Yunyin wanted to take the opportunity to inquire about the information of the Konoha clan? What a pointless act. He almost agreed without any hesitation at all, and the other party must be a negotiating mission, and the request was not excessive, and there was no reason to refuse. What's more, the Konoha clan are not fools, and it is impossible for Union's mission to spy on anything, and there is still some confidence in Sarutobi Hizen. Right, Sarutobi Hizen said very frankly. Everything is in Otsutsuki Shinichi's plan. Okay Shirin, now, we can take a good look at whether Hinata is worthy of being your wife. Otsutsuki Shinichi said with a hint of anticipation. Ren and Otsutsuki Totoro sat in Rinchuan's room, controlled Rinchuan by remote control, and led the mission towards the Hinata clan. Here I have to mention how awesome the puppet skills of the Otsutsuki clan are, and they can even share their vision with the puppet body. Just like Nagato controls 6 pens. Shinichi Otsutsuki was also able to see through Rinchuan's eyes, and even shared control with Todo Otsutsuki, and the father and son saw what Rinchuan saw together. In this way, the 2 men sat at the rear, and the entire Union mission became their marionette. The Union mission. What are they doing? Lu Ren, who was patrolling in the village, felt a little strange when he saw the Union mission going in the direction of the Hinata clan. But he didn't mean to ask the truth, and immediately put the thought behind him and continued to start his own patrol. The Union envoys soon came to the Hyuga clan. Hyuga Sunzu received a notification from the village long ago, saying that the Union mission wanted to visit their family and asked them to do a good job in reception. The patriarch of the family, Hyuga Sunzu, personally led Hyuga Ripa and other high-level elders, and received the Union mission in a grand manner. After the 2 sides went through some insignificant nonsense, Rin Chuan suddenly proposed that they had admired the reputation of the Hyuga family for a long time, so they wanted to discuss with the people of the Hyuga family. And very persistent. What else can the Hyuga clan do? Now that the Union mission is my father, I can't offend him, so I had to reluctantly agree and arrange for some people to discuss with the Union mission. However, the Union mission was very arrogant, especially one of them was repeatedly rude, which angered the Hinata clansmen who were fighting against him. That day, the clansmen missed and injured the opponent. Quick, take Haimu-kun to the hospital. Hyuga Hazu hurriedly arranged for someone to send each other to the hospital. But what Hyuga Hazu would not have thought was that after Kuroki came out of the hall, when passing through an unmanned corner, he directly shot and knocked the Hinata ninja who was escorting him unconscious. And then went straight to Hinata's room. The exact location of Hinata was clear to Otsutsuki with his white eyes early in the morning. So he controlled Kuroki effortlessly this time, sneaked into Hinata's room, and began to inspect Hinata himself up close. It's amazing, there's nothing wrong with this purity. Sharon, this is your future wife. Shinichi Otsutsuki has made a decision. Since that's the case, then let's just bring Hinata back to the moon. After thinking for a while, Otsutsuki made such a decision. So he picked up Hinata and quickly began to evacuate. Swish swish. Under the control of Shinichi Otsutsuki, Kuroki's speed was still very fast, and in the blink of an eye, he left the Hyuga clan. But just after turning a corner, a figure came into sight of Shinichi Otsutsuki. The Konoha Guard. As a family of Otsutsuki who has been following the ninja world for a long time, Shinichi Otsutsuki naturally knows what the Konoha Guard is doing, that is, Konoha Police. Maintaining law and order. So when Shinichi Otsutsuki saw the Konoha Guard, he didn't say a word and shot him without hesitation. Crackle crackle. The sound of thunderbolt lacing sounded, and Kuroki flipped his hand and took out a handful of kunai, and there were lightning flashes on the kunai. Including Kuroki himself, there are also tiny arcs from time to time. At this moment, Kuroki not only injected Lei Dun chakra into the ninja in his hand, but also stimulated his own cells with Lei Dun chakra. The speed is simply too fast. At the same time, the power of kunai in his hand is also extremely powerful. Stimulating the cells with thunderbolts greatly improves their strength. This is the unique method of Union ninjas. If ordinary Konoha guards encounter them, they may not be able to stop them. It's just a pity that Kuroki encountered the most perverted guy in the guards. At that moment, Lu Ren's mind moved, and he instantly entered the immortal mode, and he disappeared without a trace. Its speed is much faster than that of Haimu, who stimulated his own cells with Lei Dun chakra. Not good. Otsutsuki was taken aback. He didn't expect that a random person from the guard would be so powerful, and a bad feeling flashed in his heart. Immediately following Shinichi Otsutsuki, he felt a sense of extreme danger. Before anyone could react, the sound of flesh being cut by a sharp blade sounded. Puff. At this moment, Kuroki's neck was directly slashed by Kuwu in Lu Ren's hands. In the face of this immense pain, and at the critical moment of imminent death, the original consciousness of Kuroki, who was forcibly suppressed by Shinichi Otsutsuki, finally recovered. Drink. This vague sound came out of Kuroki's mouth, and the whole person began to fall into an extremely abnormal distortion. That was Kuroki's consciousness competing with Otsutsuki Shinichi for control of his body. The potential of a person's explosion when he dies is limitless. Kuroki, who was originally completely controlled by Shinichi Otsutsuki, regained the dominance of his body in an instant with the tremendous willpower that erupted in a moment. The ball of light was forced out of Kuroki's body. No, I lost control of a puppet. Shinichi Otsutsuki, who was strategizing in the reception of the Union mission, suddenly changed his expression, and then his eyes suddenly darkened, and Kuroki's vision disappeared. Ooh, Haimu had returned to normal at this time, but it was too late. He covered his throat and unconsciously made a babbling sound. Then, with a plop, he fell to the ground, completely turned into a corpse. Lu Ren stood there, looking at Haimu's corpse, and fell into deep thought. Just before his death, the Union messenger's reaction was very strange. Especially the last look and reaction, full of shock, anger, unwillingness and other emotions. The front and back are simply two different people. There is also the ball of light floating out of the Union messenger. Lu Ren also feels very familiar. He can be sure that he has seen it in Hokage-related works. It's a spirit ball. The spirit ball used by Totoro Otsutsuki to control Hinata. Lu Ren soon recalled what the ball of light was, and was surprised at the same time, but also felt extremely excited. Could it be that the Otsutsuki Todoken came to Earth? Doesn't this mean that your sign in business can rush out of the Earth and expand to the moon? Not bad. That giant Tensegan on the moon is a super big hang of the same level as the Samsara Eye. When Lu Ren thought of this, he couldn't help feeling excited. Whoosh! A figure flashed by and appeared in front of Lu Ren like lightning, but it was just in time to find out that her daughter was kidnapped, and Hyuga Hazu, who chased after him immediately. Hyuga Hazu glanced at the scene, and when he found the corpse of a Konoha guard member and Kuroki, he already understood what happened without anyone explaining it. The cloud-hidden ninja named Kuroki was discovered by the Konoha guard when he was escaping, and he fought with him, and was finally killed by him. Hinata. Immediately after, Hyuga Hazu rushed over and hugged Hinata. After some inspection, he found that he had not suffered any damage, which was a long sigh of relief. You saved my daughter, Hinata Hazu said to Rairin again gratefully. Lu Ren waved his hand very casually. As a member of the Konoha guard, this is my responsibility, Lord Hazu, don't be polite. At the same time, Lu Ren also used the immortal mode for the first time to perceive the entire Konoha village. It's them. It turns out that the two of them turned out to be the Otsutsuki clan on the moon. Otsutsuki Shinichi and his son were instantly sensed by Rairin, who was a little surprised at first, and then suddenly realized. No wonder these two were sneaking around outside Konoha village in the morning. It turned out that they really planned to do things in Konoha. The target is Hinata. It's just that Lu Ren didn't expect that the other party would control the Union mission to operate this matter. But in this case, all the doubts about the princess being kidnapped have been perfectly explained. No wonder the Union mission would come up with such an illogical moth when it seemed to sign a treaty with Konoha sincerity. It turned out to be controlled by the Otsutsuki clan. Master Rizu, farewell. Then Lu Ren hurriedly said hello to Hyuga Hazu, and left the Hyuga clan using the instant body technique. It seems that killing a member of the Union mission is just a trivial matter. After leaving the Hyuga clan, Lu Ren immediately separated out a shadow clone as a cover, and its main body used Shinwei to return to his room as soon as possible. He took out the glass ball, and quickly used the telescope technique to spy on the two people he sensed at the mission reception. Two pairs of white eyes just appeared in the photo on the glass ball. Sure enough, it is Otsutsuki Sharon. Although Todo Otsutsuki is still a child, the general outline can still be seen to have a very high similarity with the adult Todo Otsutsuki. No, that feeling of being spied on is here again. Inside the mission reception, Shinichi Otsutsuki was slightly surprised, and his brows could not help frowning. It seems that his previous feeling was not an illusion. Someone in Konoha had indeed discovered his existence. In addition, the plan to kidnap Hinata has now failed. Otsutsuki Shinichi made a decisive decision. Sharon, let's get out of here immediately. Shinichi Otsutsuki said to Tododo Otsutsuki decisively. Konoha is much stronger than he imagined. Shinichi Otsutsuki was very decisive and took Todo Otsutsuki to evacuate. Want to go? Since you're here, how can you be embarrassed to let you go if you don't leave something behind? Rairin in the clan smiled slightly, and continued to stare at Shinichi Otsutsuki with the technique of binoculars. As soon as the two of Otsutsuki Shin-san evacuated here, they immediately released the control of Rin Chuan, another member of the Union mission. The memories of the previous period of control came flooding in, causing Rin Chuan to break out in a cold sweat. I'm actually being controlled. I actually become someone else's tool. And what about the other controlled Black Wood? Soon he found that the entire Hyuga clan had become chaotic, and the people around him quickly reported to him that it was Kuroki who had kidnapped the princess of the Hyuga family and had now been shot dead. Listen, this has never happened, and Kuroki has never done this, understand? Rin Chuan said solemnly to the ninjas around him. Everyone nodded solemnly. When Rin Chuan saw this, he nodded, launched the instant body technique and rushed out, appearing at the door of Zuidi, in front of Haimu's corpse. Patriarch Hyuga, what's going on? Did you kill Haimu? Even if Haimu was a bit arrogant during the competition before, you can't do this. Rin Chuan was filled with righteous indignation and called out to Hinata Hazu in a righteous manner, and then he directly buckled a big hat. Rin Chuan-kun, you misunderstood. Kuroki-kun was not killed by my Hyuga clan, but he was conspiring to forcibly kidnap my daughter Hinata, and attack the Konoha guard, and was killed by the Konoha guard. Hyuga Hazu said to Rinchuin with a serious face. Then the two sides started wrangling, each holding their own words, and soon, the matter alarmed the 3 generations of Sarutobi Hiruzen, and the trouble came to the Hokage office. During this period, Otsutsuki Shinichi and his son had already left Konoha village and came to the aircraft that had been hidden in a hidden corner for a long time. That aircraft is roughly the same as the aircraft that Todo Otsutsuki rides in the theatrical version, with only some minor differences. Father, are we going back like this? Todo Otsutsuki asked reluctantly. Even though he was still young, he was a little unacceptable. This made Todo Otsutsuki's self-esteem, who had always been arrogant, felt a certain setback. Sharon, I know you're not happy. If it was before, I wouldn't be so cautious, but now, there are only 3 of us left in the Otsutsuki clan. And Xuanyu and I are already old. The most important task for the 2 of us now is to train you. Sharon, you are the most pure blood of our Otsutsuki clan. The mission of our clan will be yours to bear in the future. Go back first. Hinata is someone who is worthy of you. When you grow up, come pick her up in person. Shin Otsutsuki said to Todo Otsutsuki in a deep voice. Todo Otsutsuki nodded, and then followed Shinichi Otsutsuki to fly directly back to the moon in an aircraft. It's hard to come here once, why are you in such a hurry to leave? But at this moment, a voice rang out indifferently. Who? Otsutsuki Shinichi was startled and turned his head sharply, only to see a space vortex suddenly appeared in the direction of the sound. After the vortex dissipated, a person who looked very young and wore a Konoha guard uniform appeared in front of them. Sharon, come behind me. Otsutsuki Shin said in a deep voice to Otsutsuki Torin, and protected Otsutsuki Torin by his side. Then Otsutsuki Shinichi immediately opened his eyes and conducted a careful investigation of the surroundings. Don't look at it, it's just me, no one else. Lu Ren said to Shinichi Otsutsuki with a relaxed expression. Otsutsuki Shinichi was relieved when he realized that it was indeed the case through his wide-eyed observation. And also quickly understood what was coming, and looked at Lu Ren with a sudden realization. The person who spied on me in the dark before is you, right? Lu Ren did not deny this, nodded and smiled sarcastically. Finding a wife pays attention to your love and my wishes, and it's a bit pricey to grab it hard. Shinichi Otsutsuki's expression changed. He didn't know anything about the person in front of him, but he didn't expect that this person would have such a fine level of information about them. This made Otsutsuki Shinichi annoyed, but also shocked. Who are you, and what are your plans to target us like this? Otsutsuki asked in a deep voice, staring at Lu Ren. I don't have anything to do, I just want to be a guest at your house. I wonder if you are welcome. Lu Ren shrugged. Haha, it's just a pity, a lowly person like you is not worthy to set foot in my hometown. Otsutsuki Shinichi snorted coldly. At the same time, he took out a scroll and patted it with his hand. Bang bang bang. The blue smoke flashed, and several large tube wood puppets jumped out one after another, enclosing Lu Ren in them. The puppet skills of the Otsutsuki clan are much more sophisticated than those of the Red Sand Scorpion, and every puppet can be treated as a serious ninja. As the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hazu has the strength of the top handful of Konoha. In the theatrical version, he was seriously injured by a few big tube wood puppets. The clan's puppet technique is evident. After those puppets were released, they all stretched out their palms and aimed their palms at the flowing blade. In the waves of energy fluctuations, the palms of each puppet shone with light. Otsutsuki is also very confident about his puppet. At this time, he said confidently, this is your last chance to tell your identity and purpose. I've already said it before, I want to be a guest at your house. Lu Ren still looked relaxed and calm. Otsutsuki Shinichi snorted coldly. You don't eat or drink for a toast. Boom 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 boom. With a thought, all the puppets' palms were bright with light, condensing a pair of dazzling and fiery energy light balls, and hit the flowing blade. In a blink of an eye, the flow blade was surrounded by a circle of energy light balls. Magnetic escape gold. Lu Ren was not in a hurry, his mind moved, and the power of magnetic dun was used, and a circle of golden sand suddenly appeared around him. A protective layer was formed, which blocked all the energy light ball attacks from the outside. Just don't take it too easy. Otsutsuki Shinichi's expression changed slightly, and the strength of the person in front of him was stronger than he imagined. Snapped. Lu Ren slapped his palms at this time, and the tyrannical chakra in immortal mode ran wildly in the body. Under his control, the golden sand in front of him began to rage violently, overwhelming and swiftly rushing towards the surrounding puppets. Shinichi Otsutsuki's pupils shrank slightly. What a powerful gold dust ninjutsu. He hurriedly controlled those puppets to dodge quickly. However, the sand of the flowing blade is not only rushing from one direction, but from all directions of each puppet. Soon, all the puppets were surrounded by gold dust. Burst. Then Lu Ren suddenly made a fist gesture. Boom boom boom. All the Otsutsuki puppets exploded immediately. What? Otsutsuki Shinichi's pupils shrank again. The strength of this Uchiha in front of him was so powerful that he felt jealous. When did the ninja world have such a number one person? At the moment when Shinichi Otsutsuki was surprised, Ryuan had already controlled a large number of sand seas and shot towards Shinichi Otsutsuki and Todo Otsutsuki. The sand sea here is not an exaggeration. Under the control of Lu Ren, the amount of sand gold is full, and it really forms a golden stormy sea. Otsutsuki Shinichi felt his scalp go numb. At this level of ninjutsu, is there anyone in the ninja world who can use it? Sharon, go back. Otsutsuki gave out an exclamation in one mouth, and immediately pulled Otsutsuki Totoro to start the teleportation technique, dodging in embarrassment. Boom boom boom. Not only that, but there were also a lot of sand fists in the sand sea, and they launched a frantic attack on Otsutsuki Shinichi. Shinichi Otsutsuki kept shooting out balls of light one after another to resist those sand fists. One after another, the fists of sand were blown off by Shinichi Otsutsuki. But what Otsutsuki Shinichi didn't know was that during this process, the flowing blade had quietly left the Flying Thunder God technique on Todo Otsutsuki on the side. He attacked Shinichi Otsutsuki so violently, just to attract Shinichi Otsutsuki's attention and prevent Shinichi Otsutsuki from realizing his true purpose. Todo Otsutsuki is still a child after all. No matter how high his talent is, his strength is still very weak. He was secretly black-handed by Lu Ren without knowing it at all. And after leaving the Flying Thunder God technique on Otsutsuki Totoro, the purpose of Lu Ren has been achieved. As soon as he thought about it, he immediately put away his technique. The Sand Sea, who had forced Otsutsuki Shinichi to have 2 heads and 2 heads, stopped just like that. You two, walk slowly. Then Lu Ren waved to Otsutsuki Shinichi and the other 2, and while the 2 were staring at each other very dumbfounded, he used the technique of divine might to leave. Shinichi Otsutsuki, Todo Otsutsuki, Grandpa, you look at me, and I look at you, both of which are confused. They really couldn't figure out what the inexplicable Uchiha man was doing for such an inexplicable act. He suddenly came out to attack them, and he suddenly left when he clearly had an absolute advantage. Sharon, let's go back quickly. After not understanding, Otsutsuki Shinichi hurriedly pulled Otsutsuki Todo to the aircraft and left the earth in a hurry. The ninja world is too complicated, and the roads are slippery, so let's go home early. Whoosh. The aircraft took off with Otsutsuki, and soon disappeared. Lu Ren returned to Konoha using the technique of divine might, but he was called into Hokage's office just after returning. There is no doubt that it was because the Union mission was killed. 3rd generation Hokage, this is just nonsense, extremely ridiculous. How could Kuroki kidnap the children of the Hyuga family? Does he have any reason for doing this? To put it badly, although the white eyes of the Hyuga clan are very powerful, I, Yun Yin, may not be able to see it. My Union mission came to discuss the truce with your village with incomparable sincerity, but was poisoned by your village for no reason, resulting in the death of Lord Haimu in Wonkwon. You must give us an explanation on this matter. Otherwise, even if we Union and Konoha fight again, we will never tolerate it. We are not so easy to bully. In Hokage's office, Rin Chuan stood in front of everyone with a golden sword, and loudly denounced the injustice they encountered to his and Sarutobi and others. They are obviously filthy, but they are so righteous as if they were victims. Rinchuan-kun, don't worry, I am deeply sorry for what happened to Kuroki-kun. Sarutobi Hizen was sprayed on his face by an ordinary Junin saliva, and he still kept his posture very low. You can rest assured that your mission has encountered such an accident in our Konoha. I assure you in the name of Hokage that I will definitely give you an account of this matter. But before that, please let's get things straight. Sarutobi Hizen appeased Rinkawa and the others. Humph, you'd better be like this. Whether our union and Konoha are fighting or not, it all depends on your attitude of the 3 generations of Hokage. Rin Chuan hugged his arms and snorted arrogantly on the side. Uchiha Ryujin, please report the situation in detail at that time. Sarutobi Hizen said to Ryujin. According to the roster of the Konoha Guard, I patrolled the route near the Hinata clan, and I saw Kuroki abduct Hinata and quickly move outward. After seeing me, Haimu didn't have any nonsense. He came to me when he found out the kunai, and then I killed him. Lu Ren did not have any subjective guesses, and told the situation at that time in a realistic manner. Nonsense, why did Haoki-kun kidnap Hinata? You are clearly ganging up with Hinata Hazu and slandering us. 3 generations of Hokage, you must uphold justice for us. Before Lu Ren finished speaking, Rin Chuan immediately shouted angrily. Rukin didn't listen to this at all, and ignored it. Sarutobi Hizen reassured him again, and then asked Hinata Hazu to tell the story again. The words of Hinata and Hazu are completely consistent with Ryuan. However, when Rin Chuan was killed, it was Rurin and Hyuga Hazu who slandered them together. He also insisted that if Konoha couldn't give them an explanation, he would defend Yunyin's dignity even if he went to war. I already know the matter. Rinchuan-kun, you go back first, I will definitely give you a satisfactory answer to this matter. Sarutobi Hizen finally said so. After temporarily dismissing the people from the Union mission such as Rinchuan, Sarutobi Hizen kept Hinata Hazu and Rukin. Hokage-sama, I can swear that everything I said before is true. Hinata Hazu explained Sarutobi Hizen. However, Sarutobi Hizuki waved his hand and interrupted Hyuga Hazu. Hazu, it doesn't matter what happened to this matter, political art never pays attention to right or wrong, you understand. Hyuga Hazu was stunned for a moment, then stopped talking. As the patriarch of one of the largest clans in Konoha, how could he not understand Sarutobi Hizen's meaning? If there is more solid evidence, it is naturally no problem to nail Haimu's crime into an iron case. But now the key is that apart from Hinata Hazu and Uchiha Rukin, there are no other direct witnesses. Rinchuan accused Hyuga Hazu and Uchiha Ryuan of joining forces, and the 2 of them were also stating their facts. In this case, a game really needs to be played. What is a game? Look at the chips of both sides, as well as the demands of the players on both sides. Lord Hokage, what do you mean? Go back, Hazu, it's not you who killed Kuroki, so forget everything about today. Sarutobi Hizen waved his hand at Hinata Hazu. Hyuga Hazu immediately understood Sarutobi Hizen's meaning. It seems that Hokage-sama is planning to sacrifice that Uchiha Ryublade to quell Union's anger. Hyuga Hazu turned his head and glanced at Lu Ren, a look of unbearable flashed in his eyes. After all, the other party saved his daughter's life, speaking of which he was kind to their Hyuga clan. But in the game between the 2 villages, the life and death of an individual is trivial, and Hyuga Rizu can't do more than regret. When Lu Ren heard this, he couldn't help but sneer. Is Sarutobi Hizen this old coin going to treat himself like the original work with Hinata Hazu? Do you want to use your own life to quell the anger of the Union mission? But think about it, Hyuga Hazu is the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, and Sarutobi Hizen doesn't care at all. If it wasn't for the one who took the initiative to die on behalf of his brother and was forced to die in the end, then it must have been Hyuga Hazu. Even the second largest clan chief after the Uchiha clan is still like this, let alone a small member of the Konoha guards. Uchiha Ryuan, the third ninja war has been fought for so many years, and both Konoha and various countries have suffered from the war. Especially my Konoha, for so many years, I have used the power of one country to compete with other countries. Countless ninjas have been killed on the battlefield, and the villagers have also suffered from the war. Sarutobi Hizen started to carry his hands on his back and talked to Rukin. The sneer at the corner of Lu Ren's mouth couldn't help but intensify. Sure enough, things developed exactly as he had expected. As soon as he heard the beginning, he knew that Hiruzen Sarutobi was using his righteousness to brainwash himself. Let yourself die. After some impassioned tirade, Hiruzen Sarutobi walked to Ryuren's side and spoke earnestly. Now, Konoha has finally ushered in the long-awaited peace, which countless ninjas have exchanged with their own lives. Konoha, we need such a peace. This negotiation is very important for Konoha, and no mistakes are allowed. In order to seek a peaceful and stable life for the villagers, sometimes it is necessary to make certain sacrifices. Your Uchiha family has always been an important part of the village. I trust you deeply. I believe that you will dedicate your strength to the development of the village, right? Your own life, and the hard-won peace with Konoha, I think you know how to choose. After Sarutobi Hizen finished speaking, he sat back on his seat of supremacy and sighed the dry smoke in his mouth. A pair of strategizing, the overall situation in hand. This set of brainwashing skills of the will of fire has been perfected, and I don't know how many ninjas have used it over the years. It has never failed. Now Sarutobi Hizen believes that a young man like Uchiha Ryuen will definitely be so excited by his own words that he can't wait to die for Konoha immediately. Also proud of it. So after talking so much, you just want me to die? Ryuren glanced at Hiruzen Sarutobi sarcastically. Your sacrifice is not meaningless, you will bring peace to Konoha, and your spirit will continue. Sarutobi Hizen continued to brainwash, where the leaves are flying, the fire will never stop. Ha ha ha. What Sarutobi Hizen didn't expect was that this time his will of fire, Dafa, was completely useless, and Uchiha Rukin laughed out loud. Not only that, the other party's smile was full of endless contempt and ridicule, as if he was looking at himself like a fool. Sarutobi Hizen frowned, feeling something was wrong. He looked down at Uchiha Rukin and asked, Uchiha Rukin, what are you laughing at? Hinzuki Sarutobi, what a dog you really are. Lu Ren shook his head repeatedly, tisk tisk sighing. If it is said that Ryuen really made a big mistake, Sarutobi Hizen wants him to die, he has nothing to say, but now Ryuen is acting in accordance with the regulations of the Konoha Guard and is just performing his duties. In this case, Sarutobi Hizen still wanted to punish Ryuen, and Ryuen would naturally not agree. What did you say? Sarutobi Hazanaso stood up abruptly, his voice suddenly raised several octaves, he couldn't believe his ears. There is actually a ninja who dares to insult himself as a dog in front of himself. Sarutobi Hizen has never encountered such a thing in his life. The shock was so huge that Sarutobi Hizen was stunned, and he didn't know how to react for the time being. Since Konoha's peace has come so easily, and since you are so considerate of Konoha, why don't you sacrifice yourself? It's your own business if you want to kneel and lick Union. I have no opinion at all. Even if you kowtow to Union and admit your mistake, I have no opinion on calling them their own father. But you used my life to kneel and lick Union, did you make a mistake? With all due respect to Sarutobi Hizen, are you a fart? Every word of Lu Ren, like a knife, mercilessly stabbed into the heart of Sarutobi Hizen. Uchiha Rukin, you. As if struck by lightning, Sarutobi Hizen pointed at Ryazaki with a trembling hand, unable to even speak. What are you, go to your uncle. Lu Ren entered the immortal mode for a moment, and with a flick of his body, the person suddenly turned into a streamer, and appeared in front of Sarutobi Hizen as fast as lightning. A fierce slap slapped Sarutobi Hizen's face. Snapped. A crisp applause suddenly sounded. The two sides were in such a close distance, and Sarutobi Nippon-zan himself was in a huge shock, and he did not expect Ryuren to dare to attack him. If he didn't notice, he was slapped away by Lu Ren. Boom! His huge body slammed into the wall directly. Uchiha Rukin, do you dare to attack me? Sarutobi Hizen got up from the ground, his face was full of shock and disbelief, he stared at Lu Ren in disbelief and shouted. This ninja not only dared to speak rudely to himself, but also dared to openly attack himself. Was it the humiliating gesture of slapping the face? Sarutobi Hibiki's three views were simply shattered. How about doing it to you? Lu Ren clapped his hands and said lightly. It was as if he had just done a trivial thing. Whoosh whoosh. Several figures flashed past at this time, and suddenly appeared in the Naruto office, but it was the Anbu ninja who was in charge of vigilance. The news of Sarutobi Hizen being abused had already alarmed them, and they rushed over immediately. Lord Hokage, what happened just now? A member of the escort team knelt down on one knee to salute Hiruzen Sarutobi and asked in a deep voice. This person has already betrayed Konoha, and he even tried to assassinate me just now, making a mess. Take him down for me. Sarutobi Hiyazaki instructed the Anbu team members in a deep voice. All the faces behind the masks of the dark troops could not help but flash a look of surprise. Someone dared to assassinate Hokage-sama. Swish swish. They immediately launched the Shunshu technique, and they surrounded the flowing blades. Sarutobi Hizen, you can think clearly, if you are impulsive, you will die. Rairan didn't even look at the people who surrounded him in Anbu, but said to Hizen Sarutobi threateningly. Are you threatening me? Sarutobi Hizen snorted coldly. He had never seen such an arrogant guy before. Yes, there was only such a sonorous and powerful word in response to Hiruzen Sarutobi. Sarutobi Hizen was stunned by Lu Ren and poured it back in one breath, almost blowing up the chrysanthemum. With a gloomy old face, he shouted at those Anbu people who had surrounded Lu Ren, take it. Life or death. Whoosh whoosh. A group of people rushed towards Lu Ren from all around. It's a meaningless attempt. Lu Ren pouted in disapproval, and he entered the fairy mode in an instant. Thousands of birds. Clap clap clap. A large piece of thunder and lightning condensed out around him in an instant, and all the Anbu ninjas who rushed up were immediately turned to the ground by electricity. It took less than half a minute to add up from the appearance to the game over, and it was so neat and tidy. Sarutobi Hizen's expression changed, and then he reacted instantly. He began to turn pale with fright. This kind of thunder escaped ninjutsu. You are the Uchiha who appeared with Uchiha Obito. It's you. This kind of heavy lifting can easily bring down a group of powerful thunder ninjutsu, plus the identity of Uchiha. There can be no second person. After recognizing Lu Ren's identity, Sarutobi Hizen only felt a cold sweat on his back. When Kushina was producing, Konoha really understood the monster-like strength of the other party. It is no exaggeration to say that the opponent alone has the power to destroy a ninja village. Even Sarutobi Hizen could not calm down when he encountered such a monster-level ninja. Yes, it's me. Lu Ren nodded and did not deny it, so I reminded you a long time ago, don't seek death yourself. After all, Sarutobi Hizen is not an ordinary person, and after being extremely shocked, he quickly calmed down. His eyes stared at Lu Ren, and he asked in a deep voice, you have such strength, but you have been hiding in obscurity in the village. What is your purpose? Do I have to say so much to a dead person? Lu Ren shrugged, and his eyes switched directly to Kaleidoscope Shaker. Not good. At this moment, Sarutobi Hizen immediately felt an extremely unpleasant feeling. Click. It was also at that critical moment that Hizen Sarutobi's entire right arm was broken shoulder to shoulder. He was cut off by an inexplicable force that he couldn't understand at all. That is the long-range divine power of the flowing blade. Originally, Lu Ren was aiming at the head of Hiruzen Sarutobi, but he didn't expect that Hiruzen Sarutobi's reaction was quicker, and he did it in the first place. As a result, Lu Ren's long-range divine might was deflected. As expected of the 3 generations of Hokage, a voice of admiration came from Lu Ren's mouth. This admiration comes from the heart. After all, it is enough to be proud of being able to escape the remote divine might. However, in Sarutobi Hizen's ears, he felt an incomparable sarcasm and irony. Who is he? The dignified Konoha 3 Hokage. There is also the legend of the strongest Hokage in all dynasties. He is proficient in all 5 attributes of chakra, and masters a large number of ninjutsu. Now that an arm has been killed in one face-to-face, the other party even praised him. Just don't bully people too much. However, Sarutobi Hizen also understood the huge gap between himself and Ryujin, and he had never thought about fighting Ryujin or something. Back then, he, the 4th generation of Eyes, Jiraiya, Oil Girl Jiwei, Chu Doubtingzo, so many powerhouses all threw themselves in this person's hands. How can he deal with such an enemy? It is the most correct way to make a strategic retreat now and preserve the living force. Therefore, after escaping the long-range power of Rukin, Sarutobi Hizen directly took out a huge shuriken, shook his hand and shot at Rukin. Boom! Still in the air, the huge shuriken turned directly into countless ordinary shuriken, and began to shoot towards the flowing blade overwhelmingly. Of course, Sarutobi Hizen's move was not aimed at fighting the enemy. He knew that such an attack would not have any effect on Rukin. He was just trying to delay a little bit of time and fight for a chance to escape, that's all. Jingle jingle. Lu Ren switched his pupil technique to short-range Shinwei, and all the shuriken automatically passed through his body and hit the wall behind him. And at this time, Sarutobi Hibiki had already rushed to the window, and he was about to break through the window and escape. Can you escape? Lu Ren's eyes switched once again, turning into samsara eyes. Anyway, there is no Baiju in Hokage's office here. He entered the fairy mode before and sensed that there were no other people hidden here. And then again, in the past, Lu Ren was cautious because his strength was not enough, but now Lu Ren has so many trump cards, and his strength is so powerful. Even if the samsara eye is really exposed, Lu Ren doesn't care much. Vientian Tianian. But seeing Lu Ren calmly stretched out his hand to his and Sarutobi, an incomparably huge suction instantly appeared. Sarutobi Hizen's body was sucked back by Ryubane uncontrollably. When Lu Ren thought about it, the black stick of samsara eye condensed out directly, and he pierced Hizen Sarutobi's heart in one fell swoop. Boom. After that, Ryubin was like throwing garbage, and a corpse of Hizen Sarutobi was thrown on the ground like that. You. Sarutobi Hizen pointed at Ryubane with a trembling finger, and before he finished speaking a complete sentence, he died. The 3 generations of Sarutobi Hibiki died. The current Lu Ren has been vulgar for so long, and his strength has reached the pinnacle of today's ninja world, so he naturally doesn't have so many concerns about his actions. If someone threatens him, even if the other party is the 3rd generation Hokage, he will never show mercy. Someone is coming. At this time, Lu Ren sensed that a few chakra fluctuations were rapidly approaching outside. Obviously, other Anbu ninjas noticed the movement here and came quickly. Lu Ren was not in a hurry, and the Shinwei pupil technique was used, and the whole person disappeared without a trace. It was not until the figure of Lu Ren disappeared completely that a group of Anbu ninjas rushed into the Naruto office. The corpse of Hiruzen Sarutobi on the ground came directly into their eyes. All the Anbu ninjas all changed their faces, and Chi-Chi used the Shunshu technique to rush to the face of Hiruzen Sarutobi, Lord Hokage. An Anbu ninja hurriedly began to check Sarutobi Hizen's life characteristics. The whole person trembled, and almost fell to the ground. Hokage-sama was killed. The Anbu ninja said in a horrified voice. What? Everyone at the scene was silent. They were shocked, they were puzzled, they couldn't accept it. Who was the one who killed Hokage-sama? Tonight's Konoha is destined to be a sleepless night. The news of Sarutobi Hizen's killing was soon secretly notified to some senior Konoha officials. The root boss, Mito Menyon, the patriarch of the 3 clans of the Pig, Deer and Butterfly, and the patriarch of the Hinata clan, quickly gathered in the Hokage office. Only there is no patriarch of the Uchiha clan. This is because the root boss Mito Menyon, who came first, found that this matter was most likely done by Uchiha people. Of course, because this matter is too important, and it is a critical period for signing a peace treaty with Union, no one else knows about it except these core high-level executives. The matter has been kept under wraps for the time being. Sandemu was actually killed. What exactly is going on? Even those bigwigs were shocked to the extreme after seeing the body of Hiruzen Sarutobi, and they couldn't believe the scene in front of them. Several high-level executives almost stared out their own eyes. Kakashi, you members of the Anbu team were the first to discover the corpse of the 3rd generation. Now, you will describe the events at that time one by one. After all the high-level executives were in place, Mito Kakashi told Kakashi. Our team is responsible for guarding the vicinity of the Hokage building. Not long after Mr. Hyuga Hazu left, we heard some fighting sounds faintly coming from the Hokage building. So we rushed in at the first time to see what happened, but at that time, the 3rd generation had already been killed. And these Anbu colleagues have all been killed. The matter is still very simple, and Kakashi quickly finished telling everyone what happened. After everyone listened, their brows were all wrinkled. Because from Kakashi's description, there was no clue about the murderer from the beginning to the end. It seems that the murderer had left before they arrived. Have you found anyone suspicious? Nara Shikahisa asked unwillingly. No one found it. After we came in, there was no one else except the bodies of Sandemu and Anbu colleagues. Kakashi answered in a low voice. Before you came in, did you find any suspicious people going out? Nara Shikahisa asked again. Kakashi also shook his head. The brows of the Konoha executives could not help but wrinkle. From the various traces on the scene, it can be clearly seen that these Anbu ninjas basically failed to participate in the battle, and most of them were killed by a powerful thunder ninjutsu in an instant. 3 generations should have only used a shadow avatar shuriken technique. He also didn't have time to use other tricks and was killed quickly. No matter who shoots, he has the power to go far beyond the 3rd generation and kill the 3rd generation in a very short time. Nara Shikahisa made such an analysis after observing the fighting marks at the scene for a while. In fact, there is no need for Nara Shikahisa to say this, everyone present can see it, so their faces become so solemn. Let's see again, the shuriken split by the 3-generation shuriken using the shadow clone technique, all shot evenly on this wall, obviously without any external force. There are only 2 possibilities. First, the 3rd generation missed the target and missed the target. But with the strength of the 3rd generation, it is impossible to be confined to an extremely limited space such as the Hokage office. Then there is only the second possibility. The murderer did not use any defensive means, but completely escaped these shuriken at an extremely fast speed. This kind of speed is not something that can be achieved by the instant body technique at all, and there were no traces of other ninjutsu left at the scene. Everyone, what did you think of? Nara Shikahisa looked serious and analyzed. Shadow clone shuriken jutsu is a kind of ninjutsu that attacks in a wide range, and it is so close that it can escape perfectly without causing any force to the shuriken. In Nara Shikahisa's mind, 2 techniques came to mind, or to be precise, 1 person. The other Konoha executives looked at each other and saw the same answer in each other's eyes. If you want to achieve this level, unless it is Minato's Flying Thunder God technique, or that Uchiha man can make his body virtual. Mito Menion slowly opened his mouth and said what everyone was thinking, adding the exact same Thunderbolt ninjutsu. The murderer is likely to be the guy who released the 9 tails together with Uchiha Obito last time. Quote, this is also the reason why Mito Menion only did not notify the Uchiha Patriarch. Obito killed the 4th generation of Hokage, and another Uchiha person had a high enough suspicion to kill the 3rd generation of Hokage. Konoha has completely distrusted the Uchiha family. By the way, where's the Uchiha Ryublade? Hyuga Hazu asked at this time. He remembered clearly that after he left, Uchiha Ryuin was left alone here. When we came in, there were only the bodies of Sandaime and Anbu colleagues, and no Uchiha Rukin was found. Before we came in, I didn't see Uchiha Rukin go out. In front of the big bosses, Kakashi once again described the situation with a solemn expression. That is to say, we don't know whether Uchiha Rukin is dead or alive. Nara Shikahisa frowned slightly. Then he turned his eyes to Mito Gateyan. We have to confirm the condition of Uchiha Rukin right now. Mito Menion is also an experienced and seasoned ninja, and he can naturally think of some things. After hearing what Nara Shikahisa said, he nodded. I have already sent someone to investigate secretly, everyone please be patient. After waiting for a while, a ninja at the root used the Shunshu technique to come to the big bosses, and reported to Mito Gateyan. It has been confirmed, Uchiha Rukin just returned to the clan not long ago. Hearing this sentence, the expressions of everyone at the scene could not help but become very solemn. Because something is so wrong. Since Uchiha Rukin didn't die at all, why did he leave directly instead of reporting to the top for such an important matter that even Hokage was killed? The bosses have already undergone a very rigorous analysis and restoration of the scene. In terms of time, the 3rd generation was killed not long after Hyuga Hazu left. And what is the purpose of Sandaime leaving Uchiha Ryublade alone? Everyone present is very clear, this must not be completed in a very short period of time. If Uchiha Ryuin is all right, there is a great possibility that he was the witness to the assassination of Sandaime. Unless the 3rd generation left Uchiha Rukin behind, he let Uchiha Rukin leave without saying a few words. This makes sense in terms of time. But fooling people is not so fast. Under such circumstances, Uchiha Ryuin returned to the clan without making a sound, which is worth pondering. Of course, the 3 generations will not die sooner or later, but when the Union mission was killed by Lu Ren and Lu Ren was facing the crisis of being sacrificed, it was already very interesting in itself. How is the current state of Uchiha Rukin? Mito Menion asked again. It's business as usual, he's eating with his parents now. Anbu Ninja replied immediately. Mito Menyon, Rixiong Rizu, Nara Shikaku. Other bosses. The corpse of the third generation was not cold, and the corpse was lying in front of them, the heart was completely pierced, and the blood flowed all over the place. What a terrible word. As a result, Uchiha Rukin, who was highly suspicious of this, actually ate at home as if nothing happened. Does this guy have such a big heart? Or does this person really have nothing to do with the matter at all? Everyone, what do you think? After a moment of silence in the office, Mito Menyon began to look at the big bosses and asked for their opinions. Luhisa, you've always been resourceful, and we want to hear your opinion. Turning to bed, Xiaochun turned his head at this time and said, looking at Nara Lukisa. Judging from the various clues currently available, Uchiha Ryuin is very suspicious. It is possible that he left the Hokage office before the third generation was killed, but it is very small. After all, the time is too short. Then for our next considerations, it's best to plan for the worst. Uchiha Rukin was at the scene when the third generation was killed. If this assumption is true, then we must first face a question. Is it Uchiha Rukin who shot and killed the third generation of the target person? Nara Shikahisa was analyzing in an orderly manner, and everyone at the scene felt a little heavy in their hearts. In fact, no matter whether the murderer is Uchiha Rukin or not, we must be careful with Uchiha Rukin, because even if the murderer is not Uchiha Rukin, he must have a close relationship with Uchiha Rukin. When Mr. Kushina gave birth, the mysterious Uchiha man shot and injured many people, but he didn't kill anyone. Even the third generation was severely injured by this person. But now that person shot and killed Sandemu, and at a sensitive period when Uchiha Ryuin was about to be sacrificed by Sandemu, we have to doubt the motive of that person's shot. We have enough reasons to suspect that he killed Sandemu for the sake of Uchiha Rukin. That is to say, whether or not the murderer is Uchiha Rukin, we must treat it with caution and not take it lightly. In view of the extreme danger of the murderer, I suggest that no drastic measures be taken against Uchiha Rukin. Now that the peace negotiation with Union is at the most critical time, there must be no mistakes. Nara Shikahisa's words made all the high-level executives at the scene nodded slowly, and God was pitiful to see that they were really stunned by that mysterious Uchiha. Dare not to act rashly anymore, because Konoha can no longer withstand any sacrifice and stimulation. Go and ask Uchiha Ryuin to come over. After pondering for a while, Mito Minyan said to the waiting Genji member. Yes, Mito Gate Yan-sama. The man responded respectfully, disappeared in the blink of an eye, and quickly conveyed the order to Uchiha Rukin. Father and mother, since Mito Menyon-sama has summoned me, I will go back when I go. Lu Ren and Uchiha Turbido and his wife greeted each other, and then followed the soldier to the Hokage office. Swish swish. The moment he stepped into Hokage's office, Mito Kadoyan, Nara Shikaku and others all turned their attention to Uchiha Rukin. From the beginning to the end, Lu Ren's expression was extremely calm, not even the slightest change. Just like that, under the gaze of everyone, he swaggered into the office. Sarutobi Hizen's corpse and the corpses of several people from Anbu were lying on the floor in different directions, and it was difficult not to pay attention. But Lu Ren just glanced at it, and then withdrew his gaze, and said to Mito Menyon calmly, Mito Menyon, I don't know why you called me here. It seems that the corpse of Hiruzen Sarutobi does not exist at all. This kind of calmness, was deeply watched by Mito Menyon and others. A certain guess in their hearts became more and more firm. You don't seem surprised at all when you see the corpse of the third generation. Turning to bed, Xiaochun said sharply. As a ninja who has been on the battlefield, I have seen many dead people a long time ago. Lu Ren responded casually with a blank expression. He didn't even bother to pretend. After all, since the moment Sarutobi was beheaded to death, Lu Ren was destined to have a huge suspicion that could not be washed away. What's more, with Lu Ren's current strength, there is no need to disguise for a long time, even if it is a showdown with Konoha. What can Konoha do to himself? In the final analysis, the strength that is strong enough to push everything horizontally is the greatest strength of Lu Ren. And, I'm not dizzy. Lu Ren added something nonchalantly. Lu Ren's attitude made Xiaochun go to bed quite a bit irritated. God is not dizzy. Did the old lady here tell you about the dizziness? Even if you don't faint, It's still your Hokage after all, it's all dead in front of you, you should give some reaction. Okay, Uchiha Ryuin, before Sandemu was killed, you were the last person to see him. What happened when Sandemu left you alone after Patriarch Hyuga left? Mitomen Yan continued to ask questions on the side. I don't know very well. After Lord Sandemu left me, he ordered me to go back and reflect on what happened today, and then I went back. Lu Ren's face was not red and his heart was not beating. When you left, the third generation was still fine. The corners of Mitomen Yan's mouth twitched. Yes, Mitomen Yan-sama. Ryurin replied solemnly. Has anything suspicious happened after that, or any suspicious person have you met? No. Mitomen Yan then asked a few more questions, and Lu Ren always asked 3 questions, and picked himself cleanly. Okay, you can go back first, but you must remember that everything you see here must be kept secret. Especially the news of the death of Sandemu, you must not leak it to anyone, understand? After Mitomen Yan solemnly explained the sentence of Ryurin, he let Ryurin go back temporarily. Lu Jian was slightly stunned. Originally, he wanted to wait for the big bosses to ruthlessly expose his inferior lies, and even take some coercive measures against him. As a result, I didn't expect the board to be raised high but fall gently. After asking myself a few words without pain, I just let myself go. But Lu Ren also vaguely guessed that Konoha is not taking measures for himself now, which means that there is a bigger plan and a deeper conspiracy. It doesn't matter, no matter what trick, just use it. Lu Ren shrugged and didn't take this matter to heart at all. Anyway, the soldiers came to block the water and cover the soil. No reason, this Uchiha Ryublade is too arrogant. Bang. It was only after Ryurin left that Mitomen Yan slapped the table angrily and snorted angrily. It's basically certain now that this matter must be inseparable from Uchiha Rukin. Nara Shikahisa summed up on the side. Everyone else couldn't help but nod their heads again and again. They were not blind, and everyone could see the reaction of Lu Ren just now. Even if Uchiha Ryuin is not the murderer, he must have a very close relationship with the murderer, otherwise he would not be able to be so fearless. Then the following question comes again. Apart from Uchiha Rukin, does Uchiha Fuyu have anything to do with the murderer, and what about other Uchiha clansmen? Does it have anything to do with it? In addition to the murderer, there is also Uchiha Obito who killed the 4th generation. Did the Uchiha family already know of his existence? Is there a shadow of the Uchiha clan behind the death of the 3rd and 4th generations? Immediately afterwards, one very serious question after another was thrown out, causing the entire office to fall into great silence. The atmosphere at the scene was simply depressing to the extreme. After all, whether the Nine Tails Rebellion or the killing of the 3rd generation purpose, such a huge handwriting makes it difficult to completely strip the Uchiha clan. If the Uchiha clan was behind this succession of things, then things would be much more serious. The Uchiha family can't stay. In Mitomen Yan's eyes, a cold light flashed, and he spit out such a sentence from his mouth. Everyone else in the office was slightly startled, and they all felt the chill that flashed through Mitomen Yan's words. Lord Mitomen, the Uchiha clan is of great importance and should not be taken lightly. Nara Shikahisa couldn't help but be surprised. We don't know whether the Uchiha clan was involved in this matter. It doesn't matter anymore, Lukisa. Even if the Uchiha family really didn't participate in these 2 incidents, can you guarantee that they won't be rebellious after learning about the death of Sandemu? Will they not be moved when they know that there are 2 Uchiha clansmen who have the power to easily crush the entire Konoha? According to the information I got, the Uchiha family has been investigating the whereabouts of the Obito too. Do you really think they have no other intentions? When they really find those 2 clansmen, Lu Ju, can you guarantee that they won't do anything to Konoha? Mitomen Yan asked several times for his life, but Shikahisa Nara was speechless. Because of several deadly questions raised by Mitomen Yan, he can't guarantee it at all. As for the Uchiha clan trying to contact Obito and another mysterious Uchiha, this is not Mito Gate Yan nonsense, but true. After all, 2 powerful traitors suddenly appeared in the clan, and Uchiha's investigation was normal. But in the past, you could say it was human nature, and you could convince yourself that Uchiha had no other mind, but now Uchiha Rukin has been closely related to that mysterious Uchiha, and it may even be that Uchiha Who dares to say that the Uchiha family has no other ideas? What's more, everyone knows how many radicals there are in the Uchiha family. If a towering tree wants to thrive, it can't just grow under the sun. The roots buried in the rotten silt under the ground are also absorbing nutrients for it. If there is no root that can't see the light, and only the sun shines, the tree will die sooner or later. At this time, Mito Menyon said meaningfully on the side, and the expressions of many people changed slightly. Okay, although this matter is important, it needs to be discussed in the long run. The most important thing now is the peace negotiation with Yun Yin. After a pause, Mito Menyon changed the subject and began to speak in a serious tone. When the bigwigs at the scene heard this, they could not help but frown. This is the big problem that needs to be solved immediately in front of them. With Yun Yin's urination, it is certain that when they know that the third generation is dead, they will definitely do something. The atmosphere in Naruto's office can be said to be very heavy. At this very sensitive juncture, the 3 generations were killed, which indeed left everyone with a huge problem. When Sarutobi Hizen was still alive, Yun Yin had such an arrogant attitude, not to mention that Sarutobi Hizen was gone. Everyone in the office now fully understands that the news of Sarutobi Hizen's death must not reach the ears of the Union Mission. But Sarutobi Hizen, as Konoha's Hokage, is now at a critical time to mediate between Union and the Konoha mission. If he never shows up, the Union mission will definitely be suspicious. Not long ago, Hiruzen Sarutobi swore an oath that he would give the Union mission a satisfactory answer. What's more, even if this hurdle is over now, Sarutobi Hizen must show his face when the treaty is finally signed. It seems that it is very unrealistic to keep secrets from the Union mission before signing the treaty. Even if the peace treaty is signed, you can't sit back and relax. If the news of Sarutobi's death comes out, it will not be strange for Union to tear up the contract. Strength is king in the ninja world. How much binding force can one really expect a piece of paper to have? There is a premise for everyone to abide by the treaty, that is, the strength of the 2 sides is equal. If the strength of Konoha is weakened, who cares about the treaty? Everyone, this is the problem facing us now. What are your opinions? Let's talk freely. Mito Menyon held the glasses on the bridge of his nose and said to everyone, his voice sounded solemn. You big people, you can't think of a good solution. After all, this matter itself is contradictory. Not easy to solve. Until after midnight, after a fierce discussion, Nara Shikahisa came up with a very bold idea. A ninja pretended to be Sarutobi Hizen and continued to guard Konoha until the peace treaty was successfully signed with the Union mission. Everyone, I know that this method is a little disrespectful to the 3rd generation, but there is really no other better way now. This peace negotiation is very important, and there must be no mistakes, otherwise Yun Yin will definitely continue to fight my Konoha. After losing the 4th generation, Konoha has already lost its deterrent effect on the villages. If the news of the 3rd generation's death also spreads, there is no guarantee that other villages will not be ready to move. There is only one way. You look at me, I look at you, and in the end, they all agreed to Nara Shikahisa's approach. Then there is the specific candidate. After rigorous consultation, this arduous task fell to Mito Menyon. Mito Gate Yan and Sarutobi Hizen were ninjas at the same time, and they were also students of Senju Tobarama, and later participated in village affairs as consultants. It can be said that he is the person who has the most contact with Sarutobi Hizen and knows Sarutobi Hizen the most. It is not easy to reveal any flaws by Mito Menyon pretending to be Sarutobi Hizen. The next day, Mito Gate Yan used the transformation technique to turn into Sarutobi Hizen, and went to the Union mission to apologize to the Union mission in person. And made some compensation. This thing is just over. Peace talks were able to continue. From beginning to end, there was no trouble finding the flow blade. It seems that Lu Ren's nonsense in Hokage's office at night has been convinced by everyone. However, Lu Ren did not pay attention to this matter. When Sarutobi Hizen apologized to the Union mission, Lu Ren had already used the technique of divine power to appear on the moon. Undoubtedly, his purpose was to come to the castle of Todo Otsutsuki to sign in. In the first instant, Lu Ren entered the fairy mode, and he sensed all the chakra fluctuations in the entire castle. Combined with the memory of the related anime in his mind, Lu Ren found the location of the giant Tensaizen almost effortlessly. and sneaked in quietly, without attracting anyone's attention. Ding! A check-in location has been detected, the location of the giant Tenseizen. Do you want to check in? Just after appearing in front of the giant Tenseigen, such a prompt sounded in Lu Ren's mind. Sign in. What's there to hesitate about? Ryan immediately answered with excitement in his mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully signing in and getting the reward Tenseizen. At the same time as the prompt sounded, the pupils in Lu Ren's eyes suddenly turned into a pair of Tenseigens. Tennosaur. It's really Tenseizen. This trip to the moon really didn't come in vain. Lu Ren almost burst out laughing out of excitement. This Tenseigen can be said to be the second best thing Lu Ren has achieved after Samsara Eye. Among the ninja world, I'm the only one who has both Samsara Eye and Tensei Eye, right? Lu Ren thought excitedly. Immediately after, he carefully felt the state of Tenseiken. The appearance of this Tensei Eye is not like the Six Paths Immortal, who has a vertical pupil on his forehead, or an extra eye elsewhere, but directly uses his original eyes. So is the Reincarnation Eye still there? Lu Ren's mind moved, and his eyes turned into Samsara Eyes again, and then the various pupil techniques of Kaleidoscope Sharingan also worked normally, without any impact. The mind moved again, and the eyes returned to their normal state. To put it simply, the Tenseigen that Lu Ren has obtained now is also similar to those pupil techniques such as Amaterasu Yuyu, so you can just switch it out when you use it. Logically speaking, it is impossible for Tenseizen to indiscriminately enter in the writing wheel. It must be an adjustment made by the system. But this is also in the middle of his arms. He doesn't want to grow a third eye on other parts of his body. It feels awkward to think about it like that. Is it because I'm bound to the system, so the system will automatically fit my subconscious thoughts? Lu Ren couldn't help but think so. However, this kind of thing is destined to be unprovable. Who are you? How did you get here? Just when Lu Ren was thinking about it, a shocked voice suddenly sounded from behind. Otsutsuki Shinichi and two couldn't help but be shocked. You must know that this is the moon. How can people on Earth come up? Even if it came up, how could it be possible to find the extremely secret giant Tenseigen? Just can't imagine how good it is. Lu Ren turned around leisurely, and found that it was Otsutsuki Shinichi and Otsutsuki Schwanyu, and a group of Otsutsuki puppets brought by them. It's you again. At this time, Shinichi Otsutsuki saw Ryan's face, and suddenly cried out in shock and anger. Shinichi, do you know him? Otsutsuki Schwanyu asked in surprise. All the ninjas on Earth worthy of attention, such as the Five Shadows, the major people Zuli, etc., all of them have paid attention to them with the giant Tenseigen. But the young boy in front of him is definitely not in this list. He's the person I told you I met in Konoha. Otsutsuki Shinichi said bitterly to Otsutsuki Schwanyu. Otsutsuki Schwanyu was also slightly surprised. Otsutsuki Shinichi had already told him what happened in Konoha. He was still very surprised that Shinichi Otsutsuki was deflated in Konoha. After all, Shinichi Otsutsuki was so powerful that Hokage couldn't help him. But looking at it now, the ninja who made Shinichi Otsutsuki eat a big shriveled man is so young. Who the hell are you and why you are here? Please explain honestly. Shinichi Otsutsuki asked at Lu Ren in a deep voice. Don't you think it's more appropriate to say such words after defeating me? Lu Ren shrugged and said with a hint of jest. Insanity. Otsutsuki snorted angrily, and under his control, a group of Otsutsuki puppets started rushing towards Lu Ren. The pupils in Lu Ren's eyes switched directly to Samsara's eyes, stretched out his hand towards those puppets of Shinichi Otsutsuki, and spit out, Asura Road. Whoosh whoosh. Several missiles were fired directly at the rushing puppets. Boom boom boom. Amidst the dull and deafening sound of explosions, groups of fire burst out. Those puppets that rushed to Liuren didn't have time to get close to Liuren, and they were all blown up to slag, and not one was left. The Eye of Reincarnation. That is, the Eye of Reincarnation. Otsutsuki Shinichi and the others became more and more surprised. These were the eyes of the legendary Six-Path Immortals, so they naturally did not dare to underestimate it. Is this what you rely on? If I were on Earth, I would still be afraid of you, but here is not your arrogant place. Otsutsuki Shinichi snorted coldly again. The surprise on his face quickly subsided, and he became calm. On the moon, they are not afraid of even the strongest enemy, because they have the ultimate weapon, the giant Tenseigen. This is a super weapon that even wiped out the entire clan. Snapped. Otsutsumujin slapped his palms sharply, and a dazzling and holy light instantly projected onto him from the giant Tenseigan, shrouding his entire being inside. It's like the chakra pattern of Totoro Otsutsuki's Tenseigan, except that the color is pure white. Of course, this is just Otsutsuki Shinichi borrowing the power of the giant Tenseigan. Although it looks similar to Tenseigan's chakra mode, it is not the same thing at all. In terms of power, it is naturally not as good as the latter. Shish. Then Otsutsuki Shinichi fired one after another light ball attack towards Rukin. Lu Ren was just that old god standing there, not moving. All the light ball attacks were evaded by him with blur. Shinichi Otsutsuki's brows furrowed involuntarily. He didn't know what the other party's strange technique was, but if it continued like this, wouldn't the other party be invincible? When did such a difficult number one figure appear in the ninja world? Tenseigan. Don't think that only you have this kind of thing. Lu Ren smiled lightly at this time, his mind moved, and his eyes switched directly to Tenseigan. Twilight. Tenseigan. How can you have Tenseigan? Otsutsuki Shinichi and Otsutsuki Schwanyu exclaimed in unison, and they were shocked to the extreme. Tenseigans are the unique eyes of their Otsutsuki clan. How could the Uchiha people on Earth have them? Uchiha people are descendants of the Six-Path Immortals. And Tenseigans are the eyes that only those of the Otsutsuki clan who are descendants of Otsutsuki Hamamura have. What's more, doesn't this Uchiha clan already have the Eye of Reincarnation? Lu Ren's Tenseigan can be said to have completely shattered the three views of Shinichi Otsutsuki. I know you have a lot of question marks at the moment, but unfortunately, I didn't mean to answer it for you. Lu Ren's voice was light and his expression relaxed, but it brought unparalleled pressure to the two of Otsutsuki. Speaking of this, Lu Ren's thoughts moved, and he entered the Tenseigan chakra mode. Shushu stretched his hand forward, and a Taoist jade condensed directly. It is worth noting that the Taoist jade here is not a 6th-level Taoist jade, but a Taoist jade condensed by Lu Ren with Tensei eyes. This is a special kind of jade. It is the Daoyu that relies on Tenseigan. Once the Tenseigan is lost, the Juggernaut cannot be used, which is the case with Todo Otsutsuki. And Naruto's questing jade and Ludaoban's questing jade are the 6th-level questing jade of the 8 classics, and have nothing to do with the eyes. This kind of jade requires the integration of 7 attributes of chakra, such as water, soil, wind and thunder. In fact, strictly speaking, after Lu Ren obtained the Eye of Reincarnation, he already had 7 types of chakra in his body, but that was only equivalent to a seed of 7 types of chakra, which was too small. The main chakra in Lu Ren's body is still the fire attribute chakra in his original body. Later, after obtaining the 5-attribute chakra reward, it is the real 5-attribute chakra ninja. But yin and yang chakras have always been in short supply. There is no problem in making the black stick of reincarnation, but condensing the jade is just a joke. Unless Lu Ren signs in to get the 9-tailed beast chakra reward, then he can get the 10-tailed chakra, and the missing yin and yang chakra can be filled. At that time, he can condense the real 6th-level Taoist jade. The golden wheel is reborn. After condensing into the begging jade in Lu Ren's hand turned into a great golden sword, and the sword slashed at Otsutsuki Shin. What? Otsutsuki was shocked. The next moment, a single practice flashed by. Laugh. Boom. Otsutsuki Mujin's Tensaragi chakra coat was directly exploded, and he himself flew upside down as if he had been hit by a meteorite. It slammed into the wall behind with a bang, and then fell to the ground like a dead dog. The same is true for Otsutsuki Schwanyu on the other side. Lu Ren also swept away the goods while controlling the golden sword, and also swept the goods away. With just one sword, the Otsutsuki duo were severely injured by Lu Ren. There was only one breath left. It's really not easy to control this super move to such a weak level. Lu Ren couldn't help sighing. God is pitiful. In order not to explode Otsutsuki Shinichi too directly, he still used a lot of energy to suppress the power of the Golden Wheel reincarnation explosion. Listen, you two old guys, don't make plans for Earth in the future. Because the Earth is covered by me. After running the blade, he said to Otsutsuki Shinichi in a domineering manner. Why do you say that? What do you know? Otsutsuki Shinichi widened their eyes, stared at Ryorin in disbelief and asked. The admonitions left by their ancestor Otsutsuki Yumura destroyed the ninja world created by the immortals of the Six Paths. Does this person know about this kind of thing? How could it be possible? But if this person doesn't know, what does he mean by warning himself not to hit the earth? However, Lu Ren was too lazy to explain anything to Shinichi Otsutsuki. Just as he was about to leave the moon, Lu Ren suddenly stopped and looked at a corner behind the hall. Otsutsuki Shinichi followed Lu Ren's gaze, and his complexion changed dramatically. The movement here alarmed Todo Otsutsuki, who did not know when he came here. They were so badly injured and terribly shocked that they didn't even notice it. Sharon, hurry up and get out of here. Shinichi Otsutsuki called out to Todo Otsutsuki anxiously. As everyone knows, this is completely a blind worry. Lu Ren has no plans to shoot at them, otherwise, how can the two of them survive? Strictly speaking, these Otsutsuki people are not bad people, they just misinterpreted the meaning of Otsutsuki Hamura. Even if they have the idea of destroying the earth, they haven't done it yet, right? Ryuin can't just get rid of them just because of that, can he? But knocking it out is necessary. Tor Otsutsuki ran away, but just as he turned around, he bumped into someone. Flow Blade, don't hurt him, he's still a kid. Otsutsuki Shinichi and the other two were on one side, their eyes were splitting, and they screamed to the Flow Blade madly. But he saw that Lu Ren just crouched down in front of Otsutsuki Sharon, stretched out his hand and pinched Otsutsuki Sharon's small face. Sharon, remember everything that happened today, and keep it in your mind. Don't have any dangerous thoughts of destroying the ninja world in the future. Because once you do, I will kill you. After saying this, a vortex of divine power appeared directly in Lu Ren's pupils, and others were sucked into it and disappeared. At this time, Otsutsuki Sharon couldn't help but his legs were weak, and he fell to the ground with his buttocks. God is pitiful, the pressure Lu Jian brought to him was too great. When Lu Jian was in front of him, he seemed to be turned into wood, and the whole person froze. It wasn't until Lu Ren left that he regained consciousness when his mind and limbs loosened, and suddenly found himself soaked in cold sweat and could not stand still. Seeing that Ryuin did not move Todo Otsutsuki, Shinichi Otsutsuki on the side felt a sense of despair while heaving a sigh of relief. There are such terrifying Uchiha people on Earth, how can they fulfill the last wish of their ancestors? In Lu Ren's room, a spatial vortex appeared, and Lu Ren's figure quickly appeared. In the heart of Otsutsuki Torin, I guess I have become a big devil, right? Lu Ren couldn't help shaking his head. Totoro Otsutsuki was really frightened by Ryuin, even though Ryuin didn't say anything threatening to the other party. When this child grows up, if he wants to come back to the earth to make waves, it is estimated that he will have to weigh it carefully. However, Lu Ren did not intend to tell them the true intentions of Otsutsuki Hamura. This was a deeply ingrained concept, and for this reason they even wiped out the clan. The strength of his beliefs, how could Lu Ren be able to change it with just a few words? So Ryuin just encouraged Totoro Otsutsuki and returned to Earth. Lu Ren, did the third generation treat you well? It didn't take long for Uchiha Fuyu to come over in person and ask the third generation about the result of Kuroki's death by Rukin. Don't worry, Lord Patriarch, Lord Hokage didn't embarrass me. He just told me not to have any psychological pressure, he would settle everything and then let me come back. The nonsense that Lu Ren said in Naruto's office, he said again to Uchiha Fugaku. Fuyu expressed deep doubts about this. Sarutobi reasoned that old coin is not like this. However, Uchiha Fuyu did get the news that the negotiations that were originally interrupted because of Kuroki's killing have continued to advance. Obviously, Hiruzen Sarutobi has really handled this matter properly. With full of suspicion, Uchiha Fuyu left from Lu Ren. He felt that this matter was full of strangeness. Not only is Uchiha Rukin weird here, but Sarutobi Hizen is also weird. And when Uchiha Fuyu got the news that on the night that Kuroki was killed, other clan chiefs and Konoha executives quietly gathered in the Hokage office to discuss matters, this strange feeling was even more extreme. It's not that simple. Among them, there must be secrets. Uchiha Fuyu is more and more sure of this guess in his heart. But after some private investigation, no more clues were found, but it was found that there was a conflict in the Hokage office at the time. Several Anbu people died. Other than that, nothing could be found. Another point worth noting is that Sarutobi Hidden seems to give Uchiha Fuyu a strange feeling, and Uchiha Fuyu is not sure if it is his own illusion. Thanks to Nara Shikahisa's strategy, the death of the third generation of eyes was a blockbuster that was enough to cause turmoil in Konoha and even the ninja world, but it didn't cause any splashes. Except for a few senior Konoha executives who participated in the decision that night, no one else knew the truth of the matter. Sarutobi Hizen appeared in front of the villagers and the Union mission when it needed to appear, and everything went on in an orderly manner. The peace talks with the Union mission have also made substantial progress. It is estimated that in a few days, the two sides can formally sign the armistice treaty. But beneath this calm water, there is an invisible wave surging. Saruti Hizen will hold secret meetings with some high-level executives almost every day to discuss how to deal with the Uchiha family. And there has also been substantial progress. Snapped. Naruto office. Mito Menyon threw a document in front of Kaharu and several other high-level executives, who picked it up and saw that it was a document from a Uchiha clan. Uchiha Shisui, the descendant of Uchiha Mirror. Like Uchiha Mirror, he has a very strong will of fire. He is one of the few in the Uchiha clan, who has surpassed family restrictions and is loyal to the village, and has won the trust of 3 generations. Mito Gate Yan took advantage of the fact that everyone was looking at the information on Uchiha Shisui, and he also opened his mouth to introduce. Lord Mitoman, what are your plans? Nara Shikisa just glanced at Shisui's information and put it down. How could he not know that Shunshi Shisui is so famous? No need to look at the data at all. Because of this, Nara Shikahisa knew that Uchiha Shisui could not be the opponent of that mysterious Uchiha man. In this case, Mito Gate Yan-sama still pushed this person in front of everyone. Obviously there must be a comprehensive plan. Not long after Uchiha Obito killed the 4th generation of eyes and Uchiha's relationship with the village fell to a freezing point, Shisui took the initiative to find the 3rd generation of eyes. He took the initiative to accept the task of improving the relationship between the village and the Uchiha clan, and confessed his pupil technique to the 3rd eye, and I was there at the time. Uchiha Shisui's pupil technique is called Bitianshin, which is a pupil technique that can unknowingly modify the will of others. Even if it's used for writing round eyes, it's still useful. Mito Menyon announced Shisui's pupil technique. All the high-level executives at the scene could not help but secretly surprised. Subconsciously, they were extremely jealous of Zishui, and unknowingly changed the will of others. This is too bad, right? So Mito Menyon-sama, do you want Shisui to modify Uchiha Rukin's will? The military advisor Nara Shikaku suddenly understood what Mito Menyon meant. Yes, this is the only way. Mito Menyon nodded. The other bigwigs looked at each other and exchanged opinions, and they all felt that this method was feasible. This method is feasible. Nara Shikaku nodded and gave a positive answer. If that mysterious person is not Uchiha Rukin, we can control him to reveal the identity of that person, if he is that person. Quote. Nara Shikahisa didn't say anything, because even he didn't know what to do with Ryuin if that was the case. In other words, this matter is very important, and even if he has an idea, Nara Shikahisa will not say it casually. But even if this is the case, once the opponent's will is modified, it is equivalent to a puppet of Shisui, and is it not controlled by anyone? No matter how you deal with it, it's nothing to worry about. The only question, Uchiha Shisui, is it really credible? Jiraiya asked in a deep voice. His loyalty has passed the test of my purpose and the 3 generations at the same time, and there is no problem. Mito Gate Yan nodded and said. The other high-level executives didn't say anything more. They passed the test of the root leader and Hokage one after another, and there would be no problem with loyalty. Since everyone has no opinion, that's the decision. Mito Menyon waved his hand and made a final decision. Some other high-level executives also breathed a sigh of relief, only to feel that the big stone in their hearts had finally disappeared. It's just that these people wouldn't expect that everything they discussed in the office was clearly seen by Lu Ren using the telescope technique. Mito Menyon and the others, even though they knew that they were nonsense, still let them go, and made it clear that they were holding back some big moves. How can Lu Ren not be on guard? Uchiha Shisui. This is indeed the best plan they can take at the moment. Mito Menyon's plan even called Lu Ren an expert when he saw it, and couldn't help but silently praised it. Unfortunately, this plan was doomed to fail from the start. After making the decision, Mito Gateyan immediately ordered someone to quietly call Uchiha Shisui over, and handed over the task of using the other gods to control the flow blade to Shisui. Of course, in the case of using the transformation technique to become Hokage 3. In the end, Mito Menyon said that he trusted Uchiha Shisui, but in fact he couldn't fully trust him at all. Understood, Lord Sandemu. Uchiha Shisui agreed without any hesitation. He had already made plans to use other gods to modify Uchiha Fugaku's will if the conflicts in the village and the Uchiha clan could not be reconciled. Even the patriarch didn't even consider it, let alone ordinary Uchiha people. Now that Sandemu told him that Uchiha Ryuin might be the mysterious Uchiha man, Shisui thought it was reasonable to modify the opponent's will in this case. Whoosh! Uchiha Shisui, who received the order, directly used the Shunshu technique to disappear into the Hokage office. Uchiha Shisui and Ryuin were originally from the same clan, and it was very easy to find a chance to get close to Ryuin. It's a flow blade. It's early. Just the next morning, Ryuin, who was walking towards the door in the family compound, met Uchiha Shisui. Everyone lives in the same compound, and it is indeed a very normal thing to get up to go to work in the morning and meet by chance. If it was placed in the past, I wouldn't think much about it. But after knowing that Uchiha Shisui has really accepted the task of Mito Gateyan, Ryuin will not think so. Morning, stop the water. But Lu Ren didn't show anything on the surface, and he greeted Zishui as usual. The next thing is naturally to talk and chat together, and go to work from the Uchiha clan. Lu Ren, I have something to tell you. When he came to the door of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Shisui suddenly stood still and said to Lu Ren with a serious face. According to the reaction of ordinary people, halfway through the chat, the other person suddenly has something serious to tell you, and he will definitely look at that person face to face. At this moment, Lu Ren was like a person who didn't know anything. He turned around, looked into Uchiha Shisui's eyes, and said, "If you have something to say, tell me." "I'm sorry, I have to do this." Uchiha Shisui said this coldly. "Why are you sorry? What do you have to do?" Lu Ren was very cooperative and asked in a puzzled and strange tone. "Do this." The writing wheel in Uchiha Shisui's eyes turned, and he launched Tianshan directly at Lu Ren. At that moment, a thought was implanted into Rukin. "Uchiha Rukin, everything you do in the future will be based on the will of Lord Hokage." Uchiha Ryujin immediately became dazed for a moment, and then returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. "Okay, Uchiha Ryuin, you go to the Konoha guard first, and when the rotation is over, come with me to see Lord Hokage." Uchiha Shisui said to Ryuin at this time. "I see." Uchiha Ryuin nodded, and the two separated. After get off work, Shikai Shilai joined with Ryuin, and brought Ryuin to Hokage's office. On the desk, Sandemu Hokage was flipping through the documents, and he was puffing with a pipe in his mouth. It can only be said that Mito Menyon is also very dedicated in acting, and it is many times better than those junk actors who cut out images. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.